You are locked on Vop TV. Don't go nowhere. This is where the juice is. This is where all you need for entertainment, politics, movies, and whatnot.
And keep watching Vop TV. So keep it locked because I'm locked already, man, and it's money back guarantee. So you're gonna have a good time because I do.
And please keep watching Vop TV.
I want to actually, I beg you, subscribe, watch it. If not, whatever you see.
You better not touch that die because VOP is the plot.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on Vop TV. Entertainment like never before.
This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeats, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People Television. Stay with us.
My name is Tao Familoni, and here's to Vop TV. Keep watching, stay tuned, do not touch that dial.
Arararara, my name is Made Kuti and you're watching Vop TV. Keep watching.
Welcome, my name is Zika Davis. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys, viewers, everybody, boys and girls. This is Vop TV. Do you know what that means? Voice of the People TV. You don't have a voice, don't come here. You better make sure your voice is heard.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check only on Voice of the People Television, where your health has a voice.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations, but who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on Vop TV. We break the biggest stories. From missing funds to policy failures, we ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing Vop TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. Vop TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, Vop TV. Now you have more than a voice. Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us. To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
World where power shifts its every headlines. News breaks and events happens. We bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
The views on the street.
We go to bed empty hunger.
To the blaring horns of a hustling city. The loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries. Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things and makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
2564 is coming up on Barney 9, right? The 2564 Atlantic County.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation scope. The sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
On Edu Dialogue, we bring you fresh ideas and conversations, shaping the future of learning in Nigeria and beyond.
In a world where power shapes with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs the voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing.
And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check, only on Voice of the People Television, where your health has a voice.
All right, so it's a beautiful Saturday morning, and we bid you welcome to another exciting episode of the Saturday Morning Boys right here on Voice of the People Television. Well, it's a beautiful morning, and I dare say it is a beautiful morning. And the reason why I say it's beautiful is because I know for a fact that today is going to be beautiful. Savior, don't do this morning. Well, I'm not alone. My name is David E. and call him David Edwin. Savior is with me this morning, and he's mischievous anyways, as always. So I'm not surprised at what he's doing right now. But then we bid you welcome to the show, and we're excited you're here with us on a beautiful Saturday morning. Savior, very good morning to you.
No, you don't have to tell me good morning. You've already said I am mischievous. No, not greet me. No. For now, I beg. You have said I'm mischievous, so leave it that way.
That one don't be news now.
Not be news. Oh, wow. All of a sudden. All right. Welcome to another edition of Morning Buzz on Vop Television. Of course, here we give you, reasons why you should actually stick to our station. And of course, we'll be talking about different conversation. But before we go into any conversation, I'd like to talk to this young man here. Is that one?
Nadisia.
Which one is Nadisia?
I just said it's mischievous. I know it's coming.
No, I need to. You don't even know what I want to discuss with you.
President Bola Tinubu.
No, don't do that.
Oh, all right, my goodness.
You have the floor. Please go ahead.
President Bola Tinubu signs record 68.32 trillion naira 2026 appropriation bill as Nigeria extend 2025 spending plan to fast-track projects. Interested? I saw, this is one of our major talking points just today.
And of course, like I said, on the show yesterday at People's Voice, I said that there is no way we would escape not talking about that particular, signing of yesterday that actually took place at the State House. But I'm happy that this is actually coming on our table this morning. Right. And of course, aside from that particular conversation, ADC crisis, Ajakuta role, and of course, fresh legal battles intensify Nigerians' march towards the 2027 elections.
Well, these are the major talking points that we'll be having today. However, we have other trending conversations.
Trending and interesting.
Oh yeah, that emphasis on the interesting, interesting stories. But we will proceed. Before we proceed, we would urge you to kindly click on the subscription button if you haven't already. And our subscription button on YouTube, we are at Voice of the People Television, and on all other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. Now, here's the catch. You can take us with you anywhere in the world. And how do you do that? Go straight to Google and type www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news stories, because truly you can take us with you anywhere in the world just by clicking on that particular website that I just mentioned. Again, I mentioned again, www.vop.ng, and I can tell you for a fact that you'll be taking us with you anywhere in the world. I dare say that. But, you know, of course, as Voice of the People Television, your opinion matters to us. Therefore, we would encourage you to share your thoughts and reactions via our WhatsApp portal. And that number is 0904 473 2605. I take that again, 0904 473 2605. Because here at Voice of the People, you have more than a voice. Now, before we go to the trending conversation, yesterday was quite a very sad one for some of us in the broadcasting world. While we lost a colleague, we're talking about Tobyson. He for me was one fine gentleman. Tobyson Okomi, fine gentleman with Classic FM. I know it's not on the script this morning, but truly he was.
It was not meant to be in the script.
I'm just saying.
No. It was not meant to be in the script because we didn't plan it.
Yes.
Do you understand? And
yes.
It's not a thing that we actually pray for. Do you understand?
At all.
Yeah. So you're free to actually
all.
open this particular.
It's quite an unfortunate conversation situation also, because he truly was a fine gentleman who loved people, and a beautiful leader, I must say. I mean, I wasn't so close to him up close and personal, but the little time that we had together, I can say for a fact that truly he was a fine gentleman. And we only would pray that the soul of the departed rest in peace, and of course, his soul find rest in the bosom of the Lord. Well, that sad note, well, I don't know if you have something to say.
Usually, it's always very emotional for me, but
yeah,
all I would just say is that may God rest his soul.
Yeah,
that's it.
God bless his soul. All right, let's jump to the trending conversation. A trial of former Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele was thrown into fresh courtroom drama at the Ikeja Special Offences Court as proceedings stalled over a fierce legal battle on whether a key statement from a co-defendant, Henry Omoile, was truly voluntary or allegedly obtained under questionable conditions, while the defense pushed to have it thrown out, citing lack of video recording, procedural breaches, and of course possible coercion. The prosecution held its ground, insisting due process was followed, and the statement was made in the presence of counsel with no sign of duress. With both sides digging in and, of course, trading legal fire, Justice Raman Oshodi adjourned ruling on admissibility to May the 4th, 2026, keeping the high-stake corruption trial involving alleged $4.5 billion and 2.8 billion naira transaction firmly in the spotlight. Well, the court clash over Godwin Emefiele's trial echoes past high-profile corruption cases in Nigeria, and where admissibility of evidence and questions of voluntariness often stalled proceedings, because similar controversies arose during the trial of former public officials under both the current and previous administration. And I can say for a fact that this is a systemic issue
in prosecutor method and, of course, judicial delays. Unfortunately, this is something that we've come to see over time. But you know, the part that really gets to me, a similar case of the Sambo Dasuki 2015-2019, overlapping into Buhari's era. His trial over alleged 2.1 billion arms deal, yes, also, was stalled repeatedly due to disputes over admissibility of evidence and claims of rights and violations. So these are very serious conversations within the judicial system. But the question now is the judiciary deliberately stalling high-profile corruption trials to protect political elites, and at what cost, really? Because this is a major question, in the minds of some of the Nigerians who are keenly watching the situation of the former CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele. Again, this, I must say, it's a trial getting extremely long. And for some persons, they just, look at the situation and say, look, this is a high-profile case. It is supposed to get expedite, conviction and all of that, with all of the evidences that, the EFCC claims that they have. But, sometimes we ask ourselves, why do international courts succeed in convicting Nigerian officials while domestic courts in Nigeria are drawn in procedural delays? And this question stems from the fact that the situation of the former Deputy Senate Leader, Ekweremadu in the UK, it's clear in our eyes. I mean, there was clear conviction, there was, clear decision of the court. But, and of course, the courts now in the UK, not in Nigeria, you then ask yourself, if international courts can quickly, with the very evidence that they have in their hands, convict Nigerian officials outside of Nigeria quickly, how come here in Nigeria we have stalled, a procedural ruling to the point of months and years, and then we don't have convictions in the end? And these people consistently stay in detention for the longest of time. And what happens after such case, Nigerians don't get to know. The judicial system should do better with the timing of how these individuals can be prosecuted, convicted if possible, if they are found guilty, and we move on. Not the stalling of court proceedings. $4.5 billion allegedly on the path of former CBN governor. It's not a joke when I dare say this morning, because that money alone, 4.5 billion. Okay, this is my position this morning. The judiciary should do better with conviction. Once the trial lawyers are doing their rights of asking the question, the defendants are doing everything by defending whatever question they are asked, and the judges see to the fact that these court proceedings get to the very end, not stalling. That is, of course, going to be wasting precious time. And of course, Nigerians will lose faith in the judiciary as a result of that. This is my position this morning.
When you use the word, this is your position, I don't know, are you playing football? Are you playing the striking position? Are you playing defensive midfield?
Oh, well, on this matter, really, that's really where I'm going to stand.
David, let's call a spade a spade. If Emefiele was you and I, for example, if it were to be us, I think this decision would have actually, been made, and sentence would have actually been done. Now, I see no reason why we keep petting what we're meant to talk about. If Emefiele had actually worked better, for the emergence and, of course, the entry of this present government, I think I'm fine if I'm talking as an analyst for this particular section, right?
Of course, so, it's a banter position, so we have to.
If Emefiele had worked, for this particular administration, I don't think Emefiele would be where he is today. let's call it spade a spade. If Emefiele had not decided to join that particular, WhatsApp group of printing new notes because they want to affect one particular man, I don't think Emefiele would be where he is today. Anyone can actually ask, why do you think so? With all of the level of corruption? Yes. We also have somebody from Kogi State.
Oh, he's working free.
He's working free. We also have someone from Delta State, Okowa. Till now, EFCC says they said they are doing something about it. Have we heard anything?
And the same person seems to be a sole candidate for a senatorial district.
That's the simple definition of all of this conversation we're having this morning.
Quite unfortunate, really.
No, so if we want to call it, let's just say it out here. There's nothing, we don't see. At this point, I think we don't have to pet any conversation. Whosoever I'm calling your name, if you feel you want to shoot me from the TV, do it. That's the latest now that is going on. And afterwards you say, oh, it was just a figure of speech. It's as simple as that. What are we saying?
Oh dear.
Emefiele is going through this because he knows what he has actually done. But guess what? Politics will always prevail. Some people backdoor are still saying, Your Excellency, please, temper justice. See, let me tell you the irony of what is happening in Nigeria to an extent. So elections are won in court, not, at the polls. You understand? But justice is being given, at closed door meetings, not at the courts. I think this should actually be, written boldly that this is my quote for 2026. And of course, they would say, Your Excellency, please, this man, whatever. Because a man that I know his hometown. So I have been to Delta. Okowa is from Ikanot, right? And his house to Okowa is not even far at all. And when I saw his properties, it is all white. That is the same place. Okay, maybe I shouldn't call the rest of them out. But I think it is, it looks like you getting a country home and you called me, oh, Savior, please. Around my vicinity, we have good properties and all of that. And I also come. Then we also call Jerry, we call, all of our colleagues. Do you understand? So this is yours from here to here. This is mine from here to here. And we keep buying. And my question, what are you doing with this mini estate?
Oh, well.
You don't even come home. You don't even stay there. So if you want to do anything, do it. And if the federal government know that they are still begging on his behalf, just let the man go, go free. But now, let me come to that of the innocent, Nigerians that have also gone through all of this. So I think it's now a new normal that you have any issue, you are being remanded, and sometimes you don't even get opportunity of hearing yet, and you stay there. Hence, this other almighty fuel seller to the terrorists.
Oh, yeah.
Don't want to mention his name. If the court is actually, set him free, who am I to say no? Do you understand? Now, he has stayed beyond, a decade, beyond 10 years. And now the court actually, sentenced him for 10 years imprisonment. But he's actually stayed there more than that. Hence, the court said, let him go.
Right.
Do you understand?
Right.
So we also have, innocent people who have not been tried, who have not,
Or just wallowing in jail.
They're just there in jail, waiting for any date,
trial.
that they will get a date for the trial and all of that. So I think our judiciary, needs to do better. But not only that, I think it's high time that we know why we call them judiciary. And I think it's high time they also know why they actually are judiciary, because I see no reason why judiciary would be fraternizing with the executive arm, of a government, receiving homes,
With
receiving duplex, receiving duplex, receiving mansions, a bulk of flats, and none of them can actually sue us, because we have the track records from Rivers State now to Abuja. So, but the cases, I think it's high time that we really take, cognizance of all of these things. I'm talking to the judiciary now. And I saw a laudable faith, when it comes to the judiciary system. We're told that they've actually moved from manual to digital, and they've started. But I don't know how broad this particular implementation has actually, taken place. Maybe it is in 30 states already, or in some states and in some cities and all of that. But we just want a situation where, judges can be assigned to different cases, simultaneously. They can handle more than 10 cases, and people can get their hearing dates and all of that, so that this whole situation, can be rested. Basically, that's all I would say. But I think Emefiele is actually enjoying himself, because anytime he comes out for any court appearance, he always come with Bible. So I think it's fine. No, I must say this.
Someone at the confinement of a particular place is the one he says is enjoying himself.
He's reading Bible and it comes out fresh.
Okay.
No, if you want me to say more than that,
let's move.
Don't forget, a socialite Bobrisky also said, and I quote, should I say allegedly? Okay, yes, allegedly. He said that he was not, in jail for that period of, was it 6 months or 1 year of his sentence? They extradited him. Is he extradited? No, they took him off from there and they took him to a wonderful hotel, a 5-star hotel in Abuja, where he relaxed. So he didn't actually stay in Kuje prison. So anything is possible in Nigeria. As far as you have money, you can be smuggled out of that particular place. I am not saying this is the modus operandi, and I am not also saying that this is what is being done. But all I'm just saying is that we want clarity. If the government wants to, convict anybody, if the government wants to actually prosecute anybody, do what you have to do at the right time. And of course, for all of our prison warders, you have to do better. We've heard a lot, but we can't actually talk about it now. Let's move on. Since it's still about the federal government, the federal government has actually drawn a line, on the growing trend of people parading themselves as ambassadors, or let's say envoys, with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, warning that only President Bola Tinubu has the legal authority to appoint and accredit ambassadors, and anything outside that process now amounts to impersonation. The ministry said it's cracking down individuals and groups who illegally confer or adopt diplomatic ties along with fake passports, IDs, and even branded ambassador labels used for status or business, stressing that such acts are criminal and will be prosecuted. Officials are now working with security and enforcement agencies to track offenders as government moves to clean up what it described as a growing abuse of diplomatic identity. The warning also hits brand influencers and organizations using brand ambassadors tied to loosely, making it clear that recognition does not equal diplomatic status, signaling a tougher, more aggressive enforcement phase ahead. All right, I love this particular one from the federal government. And now I might be, I might be sounding a bit off, but I think it is needed. Now, when you say that a brand ambassador should not use the word ambassador, I don't know what you actually mean by that. Now, for example, David is signed, by any multinational company.
Mm-hmm.
David, I can actually call you brand ambassador. And not only that, in our organization, if I were to be working there, I can actually say Ambassador David. We paid you. Do you understand? We paid you millions, so I think it's safe to actually, use that word. But I understand, that was on the light, and I understand why the federal government is saying this. The reason why I said that I might be coming a bit off is that I would like to talk about this particular ambassadorial appointment, and of course, the envoy, the so-called envoy that has been appointed. If we're talking about ambassadorial appointments today, almost all of them were rejected. So, which one are we praising exactly? Is it the few that were allowed in? They were told that any government that's less than a year would not be recognized. So should we actually say we have 95% of ambassadors in the country representing us elsewhere? No, I can't say so.
Oh well.
But You know?
Are you implying that that is the reason why we have fake ambassadors?
No, I'll come to that, but I'm trying to talk to my government. I just hope they will not shoot me from the TV.
Jesus Christ.
So, but basically, is it about the ambassador that we've actually heard over time that, oh, they rejected them back to back? Well, let's hope that some of them that were accepted will do us right and will do better to represent us in those countries. But now, when we talk about ambassadorial, positions or envoys, to another country, I don't think it should be a thing that should be trivialized. And if you know you're watching me right now and you actually use that particular, title before your name, Ambassador A, Ambassador this, Ambassador that, and you know you were not conferred or you were not appointed by the presidency, you should, actually desist from that particular, title. It is totally wrong, and you can't use this, first, it is actually criminal as an offense, but you can't actually use this, to represent the nation when you're not formally, appointed, because we would actually think of you, as a fraudulent person. So you should actually, look for a way to reach out to, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to see how you can be conferred or appointed. And of course, I am hoping it is based on merit. But if it is politically laced, whatsoever way you can actually get it, but please go through the right channels. That's all I would say. This is totally wrong, and we're not in support of it, David.
All right, then. Because of time, really, maybe I'll just say one or two things.
You have to say more than two.
The first one is the fact that you emphasize on the impact at which fake ambassadors give to the economy, and that is where I want to stand this morning, because the economic implication of this is that fake ambassadors often exploit their status to secure contracts, and of course
they are not representing us, so
evade taxes.
They are not representing Nigeria,
money,
please,
so to say. But on the international space, that clearly is a dent on the Nigerian status. We would only tell those who are involved in this, and I hear that some of these guys have some political figures backing them up, which is again another situation that we need to consistently investigate thoroughly.
Now you know why I said Nigeria's conversation cannot be talked, in one day.
Yeah, very true, very true. And to think that it's not about the first time it happened. I mean, during the Jonathan era as well, it of course, the fake ambassadors that were caught as well. Even during the 1999 to 2007 Obasanjo era, you find the same thing happening. So it means that this has been a very unsafe trend that has been on for a while. But the most important part of this conversation is that disease from it, you who is doing it, because trust me, the arms of the law is going to get you pretty soon. And I can tell you for the fact that the moment they got you, you are going in for it. That is my position. Because of our time, we'll take a very short break now. When we return, we'll be looking at what the front pages of the national dailies are saying on a beautiful Saturday morning like today. We urge you to stay with us. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for where to buy quality and original studio and musical equipment in Nigeria? Welcome to Iruka Online, Nigeria's biggest musical and sound equipment warehouse. Your trusted home for top global brands, reliable low-price alternatives, and 100% original musical accessories. With over 60 locations nationwide and open 7 days a week, we deliver unbeatable service and customer support
you can count on. Shop online at iruka.com in partnership with world-renowned brands like Wolfdale Pro, Prisoners, Twile Keyboards, Fender and Jackson Guitars, Marshall Amplification, Mapex Acoustic Drum Set, Tech Electronic Drums and Accessories, Evans Drumheads, Ashdown Engineering, and many more. Iruka Online, powering your sound with quality you can trust.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Arpayon. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not 2012, with the sport.
Hear some people's voice, where we amplify the voice of those that matters the most. Join the conversation. Share your thoughts with me. I am Xavier Udo. Weekdays, Monday through Friday, from 4 p.m. to 5. Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
Welcome to Romeo Pizza. Sink your teeth into our freshly baked pizzas. Loaded with rich sauce, melted cheese, and irresistible toppings. Where every bite is a love story. Treat yourself to our creamy, dreamy ice cream. Smooth, sweet, and made to brighten your day. Or maybe you want it hot and satisfying. Our juicy shawarma is wrapped to perfection, packed with flavor in every mouthful. Pizza, ice cream, shawarma. Why choose one when you can have it all? Romeo Pizza has exactly what your taste buds desire.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen.
Well, thank you so very much for staying with us. We jump straight into looking at what the front pages of the national dailies are saying this beautiful morning. And I will be starting off with the Saturday Sun. But let me also let you know that we have our guest in the studio who is going to help us make sense of the stories that made it to our table this morning. And of course, our guest virtually is also joined us as well. And I'm talking about Dr. Peter Anosike. He is an author, a philosopher, development economist, best-selling author. He's also an erudite commentator on economy, finance, politics, and power. Let's introduce him first. Doctor, a very good morning to you, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Also, we have with us, joined us virtually, Barrister Eze Liche. He is an attorney at law and also a public and political affairs analyst and commentator. I understand he's already in virtually. Let's establish communication with him. Barrister, a very good morning to you, sir, and thank you for joining the conversation this morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me on.
All right, then. From our Benin studio, we also have joined us virtually William Sediaye. He is a public and political affairs analyst and commentator. He's executive member of the advisory board of Obedient Movement in Benin City. A very good morning to you, Mr. William Sediaye, and thank you for joining the conversation this morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, then let's jump right into the front pages before we get to the main story. Like I said earlier, I'm starting off with the Saturday Sun. The banner headline here reads, States Police, IGP under fire over 60 months takeoff proposal. Ethnic nationalities, that's the subwriter, ethnic nationalities, Northern Coalition, Afenifere, Igbo groups, MBE, others reject plan. Coalition urges Tinubu to fast-track process with executive order. Now, these are the subrider of that particular headline. IGP under fire over 60 months takeoff proposal. I'm talking about the state police. Above the nameplates, there other headlines read, how APC, ADC, PDP convention will shape party's fate. The subrider, PDP asks INEC to withdraw Ion's recognition as national scribe after court ruling. You can read that up inside page 22 and 29 of the Saturday Sun. Other headlines, Benue abduction. The dark clothes help me escape from kidnappers. This is a survivor reeling his ordeal. Trip unauthorized driver in police. Trip unauthorized driver in police custody. Of course, that's another subrider of that headline. All your schools struggle despite 459 billion naira education budget in 10 years. The subrider, why huge spending hasn't improved learning outcomes, education developments. That's inside page 4 and 5 of the Saturday Sun. Brazilian firm Petrobras teams up with Arthur Eze's Oranto Petroleum in offshore oil block operations in Central Africa. I take it again for emphasis. Brazilian firm Petrobras teams up with Arthur Eze's Oranto Petroleum in offshore oil block operations in Central Africa. And then other headlines there. At 102, I still do my morning exercise. This is coming from Madam Iyabode Ladipo, the subrider there. It's God's grace that I don't use eyeglasses, walking stick. Beautiful story there. And of course, you can read that inside page 11 of the Saturday Sun. What it takes to succeed in Nollywood, Mary John is saying this inside page 15. And that is it on the front page of the Saturday Sun.
And of course, I'll be moving quickly to Saturday Punch. The banner headline says a family beg as kidnappers go silent. Subrider to that particular conversation. We just want to hear their voices. All right, says the relative. Kwara, Borno, Niger, Kaduna, Zamfara was it. Terrorists boast of converting victims to Islam. It's quite a very, a serious one there. And of course, we have uncovered Lagos factory selling newborns for 1 million naira.
Wow.
This is Nigeria.
Wow.
Why military commanders are falling on front lines. 10 senior officers killed in 7 months. This is actually on page 4, so you can actually go through a particular one. Surviving domestic violence inspired my podcast. This is coming from Ayo Adesoya, the Nollywood actress there. Of course, we also have I was abated with acid meant for my brother, Anambra graduates. Right, Lagos frees policemen who killed 6 traders over land. DCP Falana fumes. Right, mixed reaction after Tinubu signed 68.32 trillion naira 2026 budget. And of course, we have petrol prices to crash as Strait of Hormuz reopens. We're actually hoping that particular one would actually come to existence. Yeah.
All right, and from there on, let's move straight to the Weekend Trust. I dare say that the pictorial at the front page of the Weekend Trust is the reason why I am taking this particular newspaper. But the banner headline there, and of course, which of course embodies the pictorial of the Weekend Trust, reads APC governorship tickets, imposition or consensus. Yeah, there you have it. That's the pictorial I'm talking about. And of course, above that headline, school resumption, fuel price hike pushes parents to tough choices. Oh dear. Tinubu extends 2025 budget to June the 30th, assents to 2026 budget. Nigerians battle with counterfeit medicines. Benue attack, how doctors captured us. And then birth attendance, the struggle between affordability and survival. Well, these are the headlines right there at the front page of the Weekend Trust. And of course, that also would bring us to the point where we would let our analysts that I've introduced to us before now have a say on one of the headlines that we read earlier. And I would like to start off from the studio here. Doctor, which of these headlines would you want to react to? And please help us do it within a space of 30 seconds because we're really pressed for time to jump into the main conversation.
I want to react to the front page of Punch.
Okay.
Which says we want to hear their voice, understand me? So the truth is that we are looking at this insecurity the wrong way. We think that the system is broken. It is not. It is not. Understand?
When you say the system, you referring to the security apparatus?
The security apparatus.
Okay.
So we are looking at the problem. Some people are benefiting from this. Understand me? And so the system is not broken. It is working as designed. And as long as some people are benefiting, it will not come to an end. Understand me? As long as some people are benefiting from this thing going on in the country, it will not come to an end.
At the expense of the lives of Nigerians.
They don't care. It's not their business.
Doctor,
what gets to their bank, understand, is their main concern. They don't care how many people that dies.
Okay, so the president of the Senate also said, a few days ago that this is political, that 2 weeks after election, that all of this particular insecurity would die down. What do you think about that?
Well, they used the same tactics in 2014, 2015.
They.
Okay. So they don't care how many people die as long as they get their ambition realized.
All right, then.
So the system is not broken. It is working as they designed it.
Okay.
Let's take this conversation to Barrister Eze Luche. Barrister, thank you so very much for still staying with us. What part of the headlines would you want to react to as well from the front pages that were reeled out a couple of minutes ago?
Much. I think what struck me most was the front page of the Sun newspaper that talked about a 60-year program to have state police. I think it's rather sad that the Sun newspaper that talked about 60 months program.
Yes.
Yes. It shows just shifting the goalposts. The problem is at hand, and rather than address it directly, you're still shifting it by 5 more years. For what? So of course, I'm going to find that the issue we don't need now is not even state police. Okay. We need local government police. We need village police. We need police for every facet of human cohabitation. Because policing is local, it's grassroots. It's not policing is not a up-down approach. It's rather it's a bottom-up approach. So I mean, the 60-month extension of program is as much as not even agreeing to have to decentralize the police. Nigeria is about the only country in the world I know about that has a centralized police. Why do we always rank unique in all the negatives? We will not be the only country that progresses on the people that are really becoming being pulled out of poverty. Rather, it's always in negative. So I think people are investing seriously in the underdevelopment and the insecurity of Nigeria. Thank you.
All right, thank you so very much, Barrister. Let's take this conversation to Edo State, where William Edea is also standing by. Williams, your position on any of the headlines, maybe in 30 seconds because of our time, really.
Yeah, the same issue of state police, because that has been one of the major challenges we are in security. So if you approve state police, we are definitely going to also see local government police. The issue of gathering information, helping NSA, Nigeria's intelligence, helping them to gather information, is when you have these people, this issue decentralized. If you say that the police, definitely are going to have local government police. Local government police immediately are the one who are going to seal the forest. So farmers will have security. So gather information, because any issue that is happening, kidnapping, armed robbery, whatsoever it is, they go into the forest to hide. So local government police will also see to that, because get state police definitely are getting local government police. Local government has police in sending information to tackle crimes and then see how to fish out these people in our forests. Thank you.
All right, and thank you so very much for your submission there. Because of our time, this is where we have to draw anchor on the front pages of the national dailies this beautiful morning. We'll jump straight into the conversation, but that will be after this very short break. President Bola Tinubu signs record 68.32 trillion naira 2026 budget as Nigeria extend 2025 spending budget plan to fast-track projects. These and more after this break. Please stay with All right, I'm glad to have you back. It is still the morning buzz right here on Voice of the People television. Let's jump into the conversation proper. President Bola Tinubu has signed Nigeria's 2026 appropriation bill, approving a record 68.32 trillion naira budget, which, and of course, while also extending the implementation of the 2025 budget to June the 30th, 2026, to allow completion of ongoing projects. The new spending plan allocates 4.799 trillion naira to statutory transfers, 15.8 trillion naira to debt service, and I beg your pardon, 15.4 trillion naira to recurrent expenditure, and a striking 32.2 trillion naira to capital projects, almost half of the entire budget. Well, the presidency says a strong capital allocation signals a push for infrastructure, security, economic stability, and inclusive growth under the renewed hope agenda. The numbers, however, set the stage for intense debate among analysts as debt servicing remains enormous and overlapping budget timelines highlights the pressure on public financing. While the government argues the extension will improve project completion, value for money, and revenue reforms, the scale of spending reflects both ambitious economic goals and the growing fiscal strain shaping Nigeria's economic direction. Oh well. We still have in the studio Dr. Peter Anosike, who again, like I said earlier, is a philosopher, development economist, and of course, best-selling author. He's here also in the capacity of the public and political affairs analyst and commentator. He's going to help us make sense of these stories and more. And also joined us virtually, Barrister Eze Luche. Barrister Eze Luche is an attorney at law and also a public and political affairs analyst. From our Benin studio as well, we have Williams Diaye, public and political affairs analyst and commentator, and also executive member of the advisory board of the Obedient Movement. Now, let me start off from Benin City for some very interesting reason. Williams, again, this conversation about the budget is one that seems to be making the front burner, and of course, Nigerians are asking questions about the budget. Is truly the budget, I'm talking about the 68.32 trillion naira budget, a genuine economic plan? Because this is a question that opposition figures have been, asking questions about. I know I'm going to still come to Dr. Peter Anosike on the financing part, but let me ask you from your perspective, looking at this budget, the government has actually ruled out how these fundings will be allocated, and to think that for capital expenditure, over half of the budget is going into it, 32.2 trillion is going into a capital project. How does this make you feel first?
Yes, it's that okay. There is a deliberate approach projects, but over the years, we are using this administration as yardstick now. We've not seen a tangible evidence to justify amount of money budgeted. The only star project of this administration is the coastal highway, and up to now we've not seen improvements. We only see people traveling down there, giving us social media along video, trying to justify the abysmal project, the abysmal work guys. They are investing that too. With this 32.20 trillion, we see that project, and then improvement in our power sector. You understand? Because this is that drives the economy of any nation. The improvement of power sector, and then security. You understand? When you invest this on that, improving technology, because we've seen over time that the Nigerian force will be having issue about terrorism. So improve technological funding for them. All this will go a long way in developing. Really said so the economy can blossom, so they can have a strong balance in our economy. And then if there must be strong balance in the economy, then these are the things that must happen. You must have tangible evidence, tangible infrastructural approach, so that can fast track our economic improvements. You understand?
All right. Well, I'm still going to stay with you. You just said that we must have tangible economic improvement. Now, I started with you because just yesterday I saw a report of the governor of your state that clearly was, of course, showing around an artist. I'm talking about Idris Abdul Karim, where your governor was showing him around. And showing him around on 3 days ago, where he was showing him around on projects. And he did say something quite germane. And he said, and I quote, that he should go and tell the people that this is what the president is doing as a result of giving them allocation. Now, that caught me aback.
David, no, David, the reason why I need to come in here is because Idris Abdul Karim actually mentioned what is not working both in the state and in the federal government at a particular event. Yeah. And that event center was sealed after that particular performance, the next day. Hence that particular peripheral, whatever that the governor had to invite.
That's the reason for the invite.
That's it. So please, let's clear it. Please go ahead.
That's about it. So laying the emphasis now, looking at that particular conversation, would you say that, again, not forgetting as well that the 2025 budget is being extended to June this year?
June 30.
June 30. Now, is that a clear proof that Nigeria's fiscal discipline has collapsed?
It has not only collapsed, it's collapsing more. Because whatever you see, just like my Johnson Meyer friend was saying there, that is just like justify whatsoever was done, sealing of the investment center, because you cannot continue to deprive people freedom of expression. The young man was saying the obvious, and he was saying it. Up to now, I don't know what if that event center has been open. Probably they just don't give a comment. So the president is doing in our state. See, for crying out loud, it is the responsibility of the government that the citizen will benefit. It's not as if it's an important thing that once it's been done, we don't even have rights to ask for more or to make sure that we criticize that what it's. That is right where they took the Idris Abdul Karim to, it was Benin Saple Road. Up still battling to complete that project. It started all the way from they approved it all the way from a Obaseki station. They didn't want to do it because the issue of between federal FACA and all that, the bridges and all that. And then immediately it came in, they started doing it. You understand? So I can tell you where they are and what they've done. They should have taken down, people down to the bypass. If you're taking it down to the bypass, let's see what's going on there. Nothing is happening there. Where they're just between limits and country home. Down to the Rock of Ages and those areas. That's the tangible thing that they've done. And then the debris that the flyover that is about to be unnecessary flyover that is about to be constructed there. The money that you use it to construct the flyover, you have used it to even do roads that will ease traffic. So they should start painting issues which is not a reflection of what the budget is talking about.
All right, then. Let's bring this conversation back to the studio before I okay. I know how much Savior is actually itching to ask that question to Barrister.
No, because I'm boiling, but it's fine.
Let's bring it back to the studio. Doctor, debt servicing, 15.8 trillion naira. How much of sustainability concern is this figure on the economy? Now, I come to you as an economist right now because when we're servicing debt to that level, there must be some level of concern. Plus, the fact that overlapping budgets risk fiscal discipline, indiscipline, as it were. How much of a concern is this, really?
The issue, what we are seeing is corruption and lack of capacity on the part of this government. Do you know that since 2024, we've been running a single budget? Single budget. And you can never achieve what you cannot measure.
Now, Doctor.
You can never achieve what you cannot measure.
I'm so sorry to wanting to streamline your thoughts here. You did mention that since 2024, we've been running just one single budget.
They call it consolidated budget.
There is this new one that they call consolidated.
Is this current one that is
no,
called consolidated?
2025 consolidated at 2024. 2026 is consolidated 2025. Because they are confused.
Consolidation.
They are confused. They don't know what to do. These people just came with one single mindset. PDP has ruled for 16 years. We must rule for 16 years. Nothing, no other agenda. Understand me? And that's why this confusion is coming. So for 30 good years, one single budget. We don't know the performance of 2024 budget. We don't know the performance of the 2025 budget. The National Assembly are not asking any question. The National Assembly is not asking any question to what is the percentage of performance of 2024 budget of 2025. How can you achieve what you cannot measure? So for me, all they are judging is lumping figures together, deceiving those who don't know.
Now, the part of accounting for the last budget is actually a statutory law which was supposed to be carried out. Please confirm if I'm wrong.
No, it is before you pass 2026 budget, yes, you should have an idea of the performance of the 2025. Of the previous budget,
yes.
But no questions were asked.
Why do you think that is happening?
Because the National Assembly has become a department of the executive. Understand? So all they are doing is just like native base. Whatever the executive bring, they will open their mouth, it will enter. Understand? They don't have any right that to make a decision that's of their own.
Doctor, before we go to Barrister, there are concerns about inflationary pressure worsening should spending not match revenue reforms. How much of this sentiment do you share as well on the budget, on this present past bill?
What Tinubu is doing, one, I've never seen any financial intelligence on the part of the president and the presidency. Understand? There's no financial intelligence at all. All he's doing is just borrowing to show that is and wasting it. What projects is going on in the country now, apart from their fraudulent Calabar Coastal Way and
Badagry
Sokoto.
That's it.
Any other thing?
I'm waiting for another one.
Any other thing? Nothing is going on in the country. All they are doing is just appropriating money to buy votes next year. So nothing really is going on in the country. Nigerians must not be deceived by this government.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Peter Anosike. David, thank you for releasing me finally.
I wasn't holding you, man.
All right, let me bring this to Barrister Izeluche. Barrister, good morning. Barrister, are you there? Good morning to you, please.
I am very much here. I hope you're hearing me.
All right,
loud and clear. I'm happy that you are back in Nigeria so we can actually talk about our country here. Now, Barrister, just like what Dr. Peter Nosike, mentioned, we've had several issues, with this particular administration. I'm not talking, as someone who is trying to, criticize them, but I'm only talking about, clarity here. If we are to talk about the national project we have presently, Calabar Coastal Highway and of course Badagry Sokoto, that's all that we can actually talk about. We keep hearing that they are doing more, which we've not seen. That's one. Now, Barrister, it was very fast for the National Assembly, which in person, Senator Solomon Adiola, right, who we call, popularly known as Yai, who they just gave a consensus candidacy of Ogun State, who is the person in charge of appropriation bill. I followed him closely before this particular, signing, and he said he signed about 1,000 and whatever copies on his desk that day, hoping that the presidency would actually attend to it, which the president also thanked, the National Assembly for signing, for approving this particular one, and of course, the president signed it immediately. Now, when we talk about our budget, our debt level, we keep borrowing. And I've asked several questions. Why are we borrowing and we're not seeing the reason why we're borrowing? The president mentioned recently, through the presidency, he said that Nigerians were not paying tax, or the tax that Nigerians were paying was not really okay, or it was not yielding results. But now Nigerians will actually pay tax that would actually, reflect in their life. That was what that particular, memo was actually saying when I actually went through it. And, Barrister, 15.8 trillion to debt servicing alone. We're servicing, we have not paid. We didn't say we have paid. 15.4 trillion recurrent expenditure. Barrister, in this same country that we're in, the last budget of last year has been given a grace to end in the first quarter of a new year, June 30, meaning that 2026 budget has not started at all, or will not start, or cannot even start, because we have to see the end of that particular one. So what will happen from January 2026 till June, off record, is just a question. I'm not saying it. So in July 2026 to December, what would happen? Barrister, you have to give me clarity on this. And please talk from the legal perspective of this particular conversation, because we need clarity in this country. It shouldn't look like some of us don't actually know, why we are Nigerians.
Well, thank you very much. I think when they hear that Nigeria is a crime scene, one of the things that addresses that reality is our relationship with the budget. Section 80 and 81 of the Nigerian Constitution provides that no kobo should be spent from the federal revenue without appropriation, without a budget. And it also, Section 80 forbids anticipatory approvals. That when you spend, believing that it must be approved. But you see this government doing this repeatedly. They keep on committing crimes. They keep on committing unconstitutional acts in the name of the budget and appropriations. Let me give you a core example. When Mr. President traveled to the United Kingdom, he signed loans, 746 million pounds loans for a project for the port revalidation, only to come back to Nigeria and apply to the National Assembly to approve the funds for what he has already signed for. That is anticipatory approval. That is a crime. That is an unconstitutional act. So when somebody like Lateef Fagbemi is the Minister of Justice, when the laws, when the Nigerian Constitution is being flouted on a daily basis, you shiver, you ask yourself, what has become of the so-called title of senior docket of Nigeria? Because the budget is Mr. President is not signing, and the lack of even implementation continues to make Nigeria a crime scene, the government itself a crime scene, because it rules as if national funds is in the back pocket of Mr. President. Whatever he wants, he puts his hand in his back pocket and pays for it. That was how the so-called Lagos Calabar Coastal Project was signed. Less than barely coming into government, he announced it, and that the money was already paid. Who appropriated? Who budgeted for it? I mean, and coming back to what you asked about the way this 60-something trillion is being shared, about 25%, which is 15 trillion, for debt servicing, not even debt repayment. Because there's no cover for debt repayment.
We're not paying the debt. It's just servicing.
We're not servicing the debt. And then you have 15 trillion again. Another 5% for recurrent. What is this recurrent? Let us not blow big grammar. This is what is used to pay for it, about almost 30 DAs or SAs Mr. President has on media only. 30 DAs on media. And they went over almost 200-300 DAs. In any sensible administration, when you say there is economic downturn, what you do is you cut down on overhead. You cut down on wastages. From those who speak for Mr. President, you hear Redo Mobi saying something, and another is talking. All of them FA on media. And that is how you come to this 15 trillion wastage. And they talk of the remaining of about 50% on capital expenditures. It's a lie. Why do I say it's a lie? In the immediate last budget, when we were coming for the last budget presentations, you hear people like the Minister of Health telling us point blank that we got less than 6 million, despite over several billions allocated to this ministry. You even had some ministries come and tell Nigerians that they did not get a dime. They did not get a dime from what was allocated in the budget. Now you ask yourself this question. The budget is not a joke. When it is signed into law, it becomes a law. It means that you must back it up. You must pay for it. You must allocate funds based on what is in that document. So the document funds meant for the Ministry of Health, for the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, that don't get to them. Where did these funds go? And let me answer that question in brief for some of those who don't know. It is these funds that are misappropriated or that to fund for the $9 million Nuhu Ribadu's office paid for PR to a lobbying group in Washington, D.C. So you see that this is a cacophony of criminality. And when they want to sign this budget, you see Mr. President come there and you see the minister, CBN government, as if they are doing anything meaningful. They are actually committing crimes, even the day he signs that budget. So we only hope that a government will come and hold these characters accountable for the various crimes they are committing.
All right, Barry.
So the so-called budget investigated and prosecuted.
Yes. Barry, sir, thank you so much. Now, let me just stay with you for a few more minutes. You talked about, how budget is being signed into law, and of course, it becomes, a law. Now, well, you talked about the health sector, which I think we should not even go into. Almost all of us, on this, table or in this room, and of course, you joining us virtually, we all have, our hospital cards from private hospitals, not because we do not like state-owned hospitals or federal hospitals, but because they've been neglected and, the necessary equipment, things that we expect them to have, are not there. And of course, some of them have actually decided to rather leave the country than to stay here. But let's leave the health sector. Of course, you would see that our Nigerian doctors are going on and off, strike because of this. They now look like Nigerian NEPA lights, off and on. National grid collapse today and up today tomorrow. But let me stay on the security part. When several budgets is signed in this country, usually we hear a certain amount of money go to the security, for security, and we usually hope that the country will be safe enough. A country that is not safe cannot thrive, cannot prosper. We don't even know how to explain ourselves when it comes to 2025 budget which has not been totally concluded. And we've actually seen what has happened, a spillover of insecurity, insurgents in this country. Now we have 2026 budget that even more, was actually given to the security architecture of this country. But, Barrister, how do we account or how do we hold the government accountable for all of these things? Because tomorrow you would hear that, we have different equipment, different technologies, air this, air that, blah, blah, blah. And they are still misfiring. Innocents are still going, innocent people are still dying. Tomorrow you would hear that our personnel are not overwhelmed. But it's not looking like that. How many generals have we lost? So how do we actually hold these people accountable? What should be done? How should we actually look at this particular budget? If you say this is actually going for security, I would confirm that yes, we've actually used it for security. We just need clarity.
No, the reality is this. When you have somebody who has a track record of criminality as your president, you can only expect crime to thrive. Whatever funds that are related to the defense sector will disappear with the wings. Just like that of the health, transport, they will disappear in the wings. You hear generals. In fact, there was a video of a general who was complaining on video, asking for weapons and ammunition that his soldiers were. What did the Ministry of Defense do? They removed him and they punished him for daring to speak out. He shouldn't have spoken out quite well. But then he was desperate. He was in the field of battle and he knew he was facing imminent death. So the only thing he could do was complain. And I thank God he complained. Because the one that died not long ago in Borno perhaps did not complain well enough. And it cost him his life. So the reality is this: the money will continue to disappear. They will tell you that because of the insecurity, they are giving the highest segment of the budget to defense.
Sorry to defense. You continue for emphasis. The Punch newspaper has it this morning that 10 senior officers have been killed in 7 months.
7 months, Barry.
10 senior officers of the military. So you can continue, just for emphasis, so we understand.
Yes, I'm sure they were referring to brigadiers and generals, but also you have colonels, lieutenant colonels, majors, captains. These are all human beings. They are fathers, they are brothers, they are relatives. So the cost on the Nigerian defense area is huge. Some of us have posited that those who misappropriate the should be charged for murder.
Okay.
Not just financial issues. Now, why do I say this? Because directly, when you deprive our soldiers of the means to protect themselves and they get it, you have directly led to their death. Because they now confront people who will kill them. And by their training, they are not supposed to just withdraw. So those who misappropriate the funds for the health, for the defense sector, should be charged for either manslaughter or murder. Okay. And it also applies to various sectors, including the health.
All right, Barrister.
Yes.
All right, Barrister. Thank you so much for that particular wonderful submission of yours. Let me take it to our Benin studios. Williams, are you there?
I'm with you. I'm here.
All right. Williams, the presidency says the strong capital allocation signals a push for infrastructure, security, economic stability, and inclusive growth under the renewed hope agenda. We've touched, security, and of course, Dr. Anosike, touched infrastructure, which we only talked about the Calabar-Lagos Coastal Highway, and of course, Badagry, Sokoto, highway. Let's talk about economic stability and the inclusive growth. The inclusive growth, I would like to actually ask, because some of us don't actually know what that inclusive growth means, because about sometime early, this year, we heard that they disbursed a certain amount of money to about how many Nigerians. I've been asking on my shows, if you have seen that money, let us know. Come out and say that you received it. Till date, we have not seen anybody, but, I'll raise that particular one. So, I'd like you to pick on that particular economic stability. this is what the presidency have actually said. What do you think about that?
Yes, I'm glad you raised that part of it. I'm still waiting to see people who have benefited from that. Probably,
are you telling me that we have not seen them in Benin?
Are
you saying you have not seen them in Benin?
I'm still waiting. Probably I'm only seeing the city boys moving around with brand new buses. Probably those are the people who are benefiting. You understand? Because now when you talk about economic stability and economic improvement, it means you are deliberately going to invest, pumping money into trade banks, pumping money into investing in the youth population of the youth. Now, there's one young man I met one of the TV station in those states where he went for a program, and he is a shoemaker, and he said up to today they are still battling of deep leather in water soaked for 7 days or more just to produce leather. And then you will tell that there are already advanced method of making sure you put this leather into process. They applied, they've talked about these issues, and then there's no government response. Now you are talking about the economic improvement. How do you improve the economy when you don't invest? That you know that the Nigerian youth, the people are even struggling to battle just to put food on the table and also to create employment. You don't just put words on and then you don't match it with action. The money you're supposed to use for this economic, you put it, they are not okay. Anybody who have received from those disbursements, I will tell you and categorically tell you that people who are loyal to them, they are extended. People who have done, who have sweat, who the blood really gushing out, probably that bus is taking. So now we're talking about that. You still have to pump money into investment banks. What is the interest rates for loans? If the loans are then be accessible, is it even accessible to the common man?
Interesting.
Okay, what have you done? What market have you created? What's real? Okay, now bless you, my brother. He was strange up to article talking about the Jakarta Steel company and all that. And then one of the place I saw that video, I dropped a little comment. What have you done about it? What has this government done about it? There's one thing to privatize. There's another thing to also support. Now, if you say you are budgeting money for that, because up to this moment, up to this budget, for a Jakarta Steel company, for workers, people who are not the workers. What is going on there? So if you know that, yes. If you know that it's a ghost issue, somewhere that is abandoned and a reckless project, why you that is talking now change that to somebody? Why are you still investing and pumping money in that place? So why is the money going to?
All right, then.
So having that ghost workers or probably that nobody, but they're just protecting money and then the money is being some fund.
Well, thank you so very
so
much.
So why not put the Jakarta let people be working and then let that workers there?
We're really pressed for time. Thank you so very much, Williams, for your submission there. Let's round up this conversation and, of course, jump to the next one with Doctor in the studio here. Doctor, again, I'm going to come to you on the part of the economy. As it stands from these particular budgets, we understand that 15.8 trillion naira of this present budget that have been signed into law is what we're going for debt servicing. What is going to be the impact when debt servicing is rivaling with capital expenditure?
Well, I want to start with the security.
Yes, you can.
Doctor, I was waiting because I know you are going to respond to that particular
budget. Now, the question is, you are talking of insecurity in the country. What is the budget performance of security in 2024 budget? Do you know? Because a budget has 3 stages. One, being signed into law, then approval and the disbursement.
Yes.
Did anybody defend the budget, security budget performance in the Senate? Nobody. None. Understand me? So how do we know if the money that was budgeted was really approved and disbursed? So assuming somebody comes to maybe the Minister of State, the Minister of Defense. Comes and tells us the budget performance on security is 60%, 70%, we know actually that something was done. But right now, we are in the dark. We don't know whether it was really approved and disbursed. Understand? So that's where the madness starts from this budgeting thing. That's where it starts. Then on the economy.
Yes.
On the area of economy, you cannot have a robust economy where there's insecurity. Anywhere there's insecurity, there can never be development. So right now we have insecurity, we have epileptic power supply. That's why they can only mention Dangote a refinery and nothing more. And mind you,
that's a private business.
It was Buhari that commissioned it, not even this government. But if you ask them, what have you done in the area of job creation, they will say Dangote a refinery, which is a private...
is it our own?
A private business.
That's the thing. So it's not for Nigeria. Our own refinery is in coma.
On the area of security and the economy, this government is zero.
Okay.
Understand me? Then for you to be using 25% of your budget on debt servicing.
That's my concern.
Not even payments. Not even payment.
That's what I want you to talk about.
The one that you did not pay, interest is accruing on it.
Yes.
Hmm.
And that's why as of yesterday, every Nigerian is owing 740,000 naira.
I'll find a way to pay me.
Okay, so Doctor, I think at this point, David, you would allow me. I think at this point, Doctor, I don't know if you have any spare 50 million. So when I borrow it from you, what I have to do is we have to look for a way to be servicing Doctor. You understand? We're not even paying him back immediately. No, we're learning from the best. So what are we saying?
Unfortunately, we're trying to make a joke of it, but it is
really, really painful. Why should we be servicing all of this?
That's why I'm highly disappointed in Tinubu. I thought that he would have done better in the area of economy than Buhari, because Buhari came from the barracks, but Tinubu came from the private sector. So my thinking was that he would do better than Buhari, but he disappointed big time.
Okay, the same disappointment you actually talked about is what the ADC chieftain, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar also said. He said he also expected so much from the president, but is disappointed.
He disappointed big time.
Talking about the ADC crisis at Jakarta role and fresh legal battles intensify Nigerians' march towards the 2027 elections. Of course, this particular conversation is what we need to actually look into. Fresh political tensions brewing inside the African Democratic Congress as factional chairman Nafi Bala declared the April 14 convention led by David Mark null and void, citing court orders allege that forgery and absence of INEC, of course, at the event. The dispute signals deepening internal fractures, just as the United Kingdom confirms it will deploy observers for Nigerians' 2027 elections and begin engagement with electoral authorities, placing the country's democratic credibility under growing international scrutiny ahead of primaries and campaign season. At the same time, Bola Tinubu has reignited political fire by criticizing Atiku Abubakar over the privatization of Jakarta Steel Company, despite continued budget allocation to the idle plant. While new legal battles over election tribunals in Abuja raised concerns about compliance with the Electoral Act 2006, together, these clashes spotlights party instability, international oversight, and long-standing governance question as Nigeria move deeper into the 2027 election circle. Let me take it to my brother in Benin Studios. Hello, Williams, are you there?
Yeah, I'm with you.
The reason why I need to bring it to you, I think it's safe to say that I need to add prophets to your name. While you were actually talking about the budget situation, when I actually asked you, you touched a bit of the Ajakuta, but of course now it is actually coming back to you. So that's why I'm saying that you're a prophet. Now, Williams, we've actually seen, back and forth with the ADC. And of course, ADC has decided to, go through with that particular convention, even if they were actually deprived of, several venues until they scaled through with a particular one, which I was happy that when they got that particular venue, I think there was no proper, AC installation there, so they were all hot. Yes, I also want them to feel the heat that Nigerians are feeling, regardless of opposition, to know that Nigerians, they call Nigerians. No, because you and I can have this in our house. But what about, any ordinary Nigerian? Do you understand what I'm saying? So I love the fact that they were actually finding themselves and they were also sweating. So I love that fact. So that if at all they would actually, get, into power by God's grace, that's what they're saying. They would actually know how to take care of Nigerians. But now, ADC looks like they're really going through a lot right now. With Nafi Bala backing down. The other time we heard that Atiku was suspended from Adamawa State, in their party. And of course, we've heard, several, will I call it, web of crisis in ADC. Now, the one I want you to really talk about when it comes to this ADC's conversation is about the question that was asked. Mr. Peter Obi was asked that question. Would you leave the ADC if you don't win the primaries? He said, I want the primaries to be free and fair. He didn't answer the question. And they asked him again, if Atiku clinches on that particular ticket, would you support Atiku Abubakar? He said again, if the primaries is free and fair, because I don't have a dime to give to anybody, and I don't want the primaries to be transactional. That's one. Now, secondly, when Atiku Abubakar granted a media parley recently, about 4 days ago on Wednesday, it was also asked, would you support any other candidate if they pick that particular candidate over you? And he said, and I quote, that the first that the ADC would do is to think of a consensus candidacy. If that negotiation fails, then we would go into direct primaries. If that negotiation fails, he didn't talk about Obi. He didn't say he will or he will not. If that negotiation fails, meaning that if they decide to pick anybody today and he's not in, he might decide to say no. And Amechi has made it clear that he's not in support of any consensus candidacy, that he wants direct primaries. Now, this is what we have on the table. Gladiators in one formidable opposition party. The party is going through different crises, but we don't also know how they will fix their internal issues in the coming weeks, because it's just less than how many weeks. And some would call it a month or whatever, but in just how many weeks, everybody will be thinking of direct primaries. What do you make of this ADC's deeper situation, if I'm safe to actually, or allowed to use that word?
Yes, it's a deeper situation, and they will continue to see some deep issues as far as the ruling party is concerned, just to continue to throw them off balance. Then, starting from the convention does have to hold, because they discover that they have to put INEC, they put the judiciary under pressure. So they are pushing them to act. They just need to do something that the Congress took place. Remember, there's 3 court issues. That's of the main one, the Bala challenging the and then Mark only in his court trying to say, okay, establish his own authority over the party and then stay of execution. And then 2, the 7 chairmen who are saying, okay, don't recognize Mark. And then remember on the 14th, the Mark-led solicitors, they actually withdrew part of that one in the Supreme Court, left the stay of execution, probably for a reason. And then the convention just have to go. They're talking about this, the pairing now, which is one of the major issues they have to do. There is Obi Kwankwaso, and we've not seen Atiku or who, we've not seen Amechi or who, but the Obi Kwankwaso is becoming to gather momentum. And then after the convention, remember, the president had to respond, and the response is part of what we have been deliberating. And then they said they are trying to scare me. Scared. If the convention is not about his own day, then why is the presidency responding? You are just leaving these people let them be doing their thing. And they're going into it deeply. Then Obi, in his own is kind of very, very free person. You have to make everything fair and fair. But from his statement, as at 2023, was not that political. And that was one of the things I was very angry about in this Nigeria. You must play Nigeria politics. And then coming to Atiku, Atiku is the big he has the money to spend. When you put him in politics, put him in the primaries, he's definitely going to beat you. If you are not smart, he's definitely going to beat you because he's a negotiator. He's just like Tinubu too. He's a negotiator. He knows how to get big wins. And then, frankly speaking, if you go in depth with this current form of bourgeois, heavyweight politicians, if you even want to dance to the tune of Atiku, because they are all part of his own caucus. Because he is actually the brain box of this issue. Just that they just needed Obi to come to gather legitimacy and then see some attraction from the youths. And then, okay, fine. Obedient and all that. He must give us Obi, and then they say he has a compass. So, see, I'm telling you, if ABC must survive, the Amechi issue is just there. He is just like a little fish in the sea. ABC must survive. They must come to realize that no matter it is, you have to feed in something that will trouble the ruling party. Okay. And whatever it is troubling the ruling party now is already the Obi Kwankwaso stuff that is trying to. Okay. So it was that.
All right. Thank you so much, Williams, for that particular, wonderful submission of yours. Let me bring it back to the studio, Doctor. I know that you really, love the ADC, and of course, you wish them well. When I use the word love, I'm not saying that you're partisan, but of course, you wish them well. Doctor, we're having a very, serious issue here. And let me bring it to the table. One article was, asked at the media party granted. Article said that Jonathan was inexperienced, which Ruben Abati, replied him by telling him he was rude to have used such word, on his previous boss, But he said Jonathan was inexperienced. He said he expected, in your words, that's why I'm coming to you, that he expected more from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on economy, just like you said. But he's disappointed. And he used the word, this is the reason why I am saying that when people from the state come to the federal level, they don't have experience to actually handle it. He said he has been, in the federal corridors. He has been, in the corridors of power. And not only that, as at the time that he was called upon, of course, he came from Adamawa, where he was newly, elected, and he won his gubernatorial election. But of course, he was called upon to come and become the vice president. And he said the president, just came out from, the prison as a then, And he said he did almost all the politicking. He was the one, through the approval of the president, went to diaspora to pick some of the people who actually worked in the administration. Now, he said several things when it comes to just one person coming from, or a candidate who comes from a state level, being a governor, wants to be president. And if he has said all of that, after he had answered indirectly the question of either he would support Obi or not, of course, Obi is also in that particular fray. Doctor, do you think Atiku is the only one that is qualified? Because Amechi also said in this word that Atiku, based on his fundamental human rights, he can actually contest. But let us consider age. That it would be 80, Tinubu 79, so Amechi said. That presidency needs someone who is young and, that has stamina. And he made recourse of the Benin Republic, having a 49-year-old president. Doctor, I would like you to talk about experience and inexperience from the people in ADC, because this is actually an internal situation now.
Well, for me, what Amechi, P2B, and Atiku Abubakar is saying is the same thing. Understand? What they are saying is the same thing. Atiku say, if there's no consensus, candidate will go for the primary. P2B say he wants a free and fair primary. Understand?
Okay.
Rotimi Amechi said he needs
direct primary. He's not even in support of consensus candidates.
All of them are saying the same thing.
Now let's talk about
all of them are saying the same thing. And in America, George Bush, Bill Clinton, and all of them were governors before they became president.
Right.
Understand? So if not that Obasanjo picked Atiku to deputize him, Atiku would have also become a governor, because that was what he ran for. Yeah. He never ran straight for the presidency. So that argument does not hold water. Understand? Mm. So the issue is this. One, Nigeria is in a dire state. Understand? Nigeria, as we speak, is almost a failed state. So we need a change. We need a change, and change doesn't come easy. Nowhere in the world does change come easy. And change doesn't come from the up. It comes from the below. It is the people that will get that change. And change can only come if the opposition picked a popular and acceptable candidate.
Okay. All right, Doctor. You just used the word change. I think the ruling party are so happy that you're using the word change because it's part of their slogan. But
no, we need to change the Tinubu.
Okay. I like the fact that Doctor had to do a disclaimer, you know. Now, Doctor, let me come to another disturbing conversation so you can actually round up your thoughts on this. Now, you've actually, touched that of what Atiku, are saying. Doctor, INEC was not present at the 14th of April convention of the ADC. Now, are we about to see the same situation that happened with the PDP, the Sheyi Makinde, Turaki-led faction? If INEC is not present at your convention, we actually know what that particular situation means.
That is subject to different interpretations.
Please go ahead.
But it's there. Okay. That is subject to different interpretations.
Okay.
Understand? If convention is properly done, understand? So it's subject to different. But the importance of that convention is that Amu Peter, who is working for the APC as we speak, wants.
So you said, Doctor.
As Peter Nosike said.
Okay.
Understand me?
I need that clarity.
Yes. Want Tinubu to be the sole candidate in 2027. Because he knows that Tinubu has failed woefully in delivering his campaign promises. So APC is jittery as we speak. APC is jittery because of the coalition. So if they had waited for the court to come up with their judgment, time must have gone for the convention. So they have to go for the convention while waiting for the resolution of the court. So I support the convention.
Okay.
I support the convention, and I beg INEC, I beg the judiciary not to put this country on fire.
Oh, Doctor, I'm surprised that you are begging someone that you have already said that is working for.
I'm begging them because
wow, Doctor,
there's no way in 2027 Tinubu will be or the sole candidate.
Doesn't mean you have actually begged
you cannot even bring that ballot box to my area.
Wow. So that means you have
actually... cannot bring that polling unit to my area.
Okay.
So they should be professional in the discharge of their duties.
Okay. Okay. Officially, David, I'm sorry, officially, Doctor has actually been under pressure. Doctor actually said that INEC chairman is working for the ruling party, but now he's begging them. So I think...
For the interest of peace, for Nigeria to continue, and not that I like them, and never that I like them.
It's clear. All right.
Let's go straight to Barrister Ezeluche. Now, Doctor did say earlier that the situation of the convention, the ADC convention, that did not have any INEC official there is subject to interpretation. From the legal perspective, are we seeing a time bomb waiting to happen? That's on one angle, and I beg that you carefully put clarity to that situation from the legal angle. Secondly, I want to talk to the situation surrounding the criticism of the presidency of the former vice president over the privatization of the Ajokuta steel, particularly on the fact that the presidency did say, you sold this thing. Why are you coming to talk to Nigerians about this whole project? Here's another interesting fact, and I'm going to reel them out in a split second. The plant employs roughly 3,000 workers. I'm talking about the Ajokuta steel, and I'm giving facts now. Over 3,000 workers in that particular plant. Now, as of 2024, the Tinubu-led administration spent overhead of, carefully, 410 million naira on capital expenditure on that plant alone. I take that again. 410 million naira, beg your pardon. Million naira, that's about 61%, mainly on rehabilitation, repairs, computer, security, and all of those things that followed it. And I'm talking 2024. At 2025, I beg your pardon. Now, in 2026, we are seeing that the same steel company that has been privatized is gulping 6.69 billion naira. Please help Nigerians make sense of the reason why a privatized steel company that has not produced any steel in the interest of Nigerians is getting that figure, taxpayers' money, to fund on a yearly basis. These are my two questions because of our time. Let's jump right into it. Barrister.
That's another NNPC.
Much time here on the I don't think time is an issue. But let me address the questions you asked. With regards to the INEC not showing up at the ADC convention, ADC has done the needful. It has invited INEC, and it was received by the INEC. If for any reason INEC chooses not to attend the convention or the Congress of the ADC, that is INEC's business. The ADC has done what it should do, which is to notify INEC the venue and the place. And when there was a last minute change, it also notified INEC that the change had occurred due to forces beyond their control. So that INEC did not show up is neither here nor there. That's the INEC's cup of tea. If they are shown up, it would have been good, but they were invited and they decided not to show up. So that's their business. With regard to the privatization issue, the Bola just told us in the same forum where he was making mockery of the Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, he informed Nigerians that he took over from himself, that he is Buhari and Buhari is him. That means that he has had a total of 11 years, 8 years of the Buhari presidency and 3+ years now of the Tinubu presidency to act against the Ajokuta issue, to raise any panel of inquiry, to investigate into it, to penalize those who he feel were involved in whatever scam he's now claiming to exist in that Ajokuta still. That he kept quiet all these 11 years, he should forever keep short. I mean, he should have, the response from the ABC was to tell him that you've been in office for the past 11 years, you didn't see anything wrong with it. Now that there's politics, you have the effrontery to come and make noise, just shut up. And the reality is that most APC has been funded at the Ajokuta steel all this while, all these past 11 years, shows that they are complicit in whatever is blaming Atiku Abubakar for. And it's not just Ajokuta. The government still spends heavily on the discourse. That's on the electricity distribution company. They keep on moving around with police as if they're a public firm. Meanwhile, these are private organizations. When they come to your house to come and collect their debts, you are owing them, they come with police, which is very, very unfortunate. So in Nigeria, the entire privatization process was, I would say, was very, very opaque. It is not how it's done in any other country. If you privatize, they become private entities. You don't privatize and still give them the same power and authority that a state entity will have. They move with police, move with military. So all the talk Mr. Tinubu was saying there was just political.
Oh, yeah.
The that people clap failure because it's just not even funny. In fact, under his regime, let me conclude that Ajakuta issue. Senator Natasha from Kogi State, who comes from the area where the Ajakuta steel is located, she has made several efforts on the floor of the Senate to raise this issue. On the same member of the APC, the Senate President, who is in bed with this Mr. President, Mr. Tinubu, has refused any discourse on that issue to be tabled before the National Assembly. If they were serious about Ajakuta, they should have allowed Mrs. Natasha to bring up her issues and let it be trashed. But he didn't. They failed. The same Tinubu regime stalled whatever inquiries which Mr. Natasha would have brought about the Ajakuta. And for him to have the temerity to talk about Ajakuta at this late hour, my dear, Mr. Tinubu should just shut up on that issue. Simple. He should shut up.
All right, then. Thank you so very much, Barrister, for your submission there. We are totally.
And then, sorry, on a final note, I think there should be some kind of balancing with timing. You know, when you invite us for programs, there should be balancing on timing. It's not fair you bring somebody for a program and then the timing is not real balanced. Thank you very much.
We would work on that, and that's why we're consistent work in progress, and definitely would look towards it as well. Well, because of time, really, this is where we have to draw anchor. But let's also let you know that Nigeria is expanding its non-military counterinsurgency strategy through Operation Safe Corridor, where about 744 million fighters and victims of violent extremism have completed a federal rehabilitation and reintegration program in Gombe State, supported by the Defense Headquarters and, of course, the Chief of Defense Staff, Olufemi Loyede. These graduates mostly from conflicted areas like states like Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa, alongside a small number of foreign nationals, underwent months of de-radicalization, vacation, training, civic education, and, of course, religious orientation amid breaking extremist influence and rebuilding civilian lives. Well, unfortunately, we can't touch on this as well, but because of our time, this is where we have to draw anchor on the show. I want to say a big thank you to the gentlemen that, of course, chimed in their voice in the conversation this morning. And I'm talking about Dr. Peter Anosike, philosopher, development economist, and, of course, best-selling author. And he's also an erudite commentator on finance, economy, and politics and power. Thank you so very much, Doctor, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Also, big thank you to you, Barrister Eze Luce, attorney at law and public and political affairs analyst and commentator. Thank you so very much for being here as well. I want to say big thank you as well to Mr. Williams Idiaye, all the way from our Benin studio. He's also public and political affairs analyst and commentator. He's executive member of the advisory board of the Obedience Movement. I want to say thank you to you as well for chiming your conversation. Thank you so very much. All right, then. This is where we have to draw anchor, like I said earlier, on behalf of myself and myself alone, because Xavier will do his own outro as well. I want to say have a beautiful weekend ahead. Don't allow the weekend weaken you. Always, always do right as a citizen. And we're hoping that the government also will do right by us as the government. Until we'll come your way same time again next week, God willing. Have an amazing weekend ahead. David Edwin saying, God bless Nigeria.
All right, this is just from me to you, Barrister. Barrister, don't worry. Sooner or later, we'll actually extend the show to 3 or 4 hours.
Oh, yes.
And we'll actually look into that particular timing. Yes, don't give up because it is not over. Tough time doesn't last, or tough will last. Whatsoever you face will soon be over. And you will definitely smile again. Have a wonderful weekend ahead. Bye-bye.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on Vop TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at Vop TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. Vop TV, Voice of the People Television.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
It's your girl Arika the Dimples, aka Risky Baby, and you are watching Vop TV. Do not go anywhere. Where are you going to? Stay here. Calm down. Stay here if you're not.
What's up, everybody? Who's Ariko here, and I'm hanging out on Vop TV. Keep it locked. Don't go nowhere. Let's go.
Hi everyone, my name is Yvonne Jagade. You are watching Vop TV, and don't change the dial, because I said so.
Who's happy to post them and who's happy the most? Because when shit goes south, y'all be happy to ghost. When you make a wrong move, they be happy to roast. But be careful when you win, who's not happy to toast. I am VJ Adams, and you rock with Vop TV. Don't move.
Hi, people. Bisola here, and you are watching Vop TV. Mwah.
Shout out to Vop TV. It's so good to have you on the red carpet of AV. Love you all. Wishing you all the best.
Here's a shout out to Vop TV. It's your girl April Oshidikwe at the AV premiere. You know what it is.
Hi everyone, my name is Linda Ejiofor Suleiman, and I'm live at the EV premiere. Keep watching Vop TV.
I want to say hello to my Italian friends. I want to say them that Nigeria is the best country in the world, and I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Hi guys, my name is Tomo Atebe. I'm an actor, and you guys are live on Vop TV. Keep it locked, because I said so.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is your girl Phil Storms out here, and this is a big shout out to Vop TV.
Hi guys, my name is Charles Bourne.
My name is Lydia Lawrence Nzaya,
Please
and
keep watching Voice of the People Television. Love ya.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as they hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on Vop TV. Entertainment like never before. To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on Vop TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
Welcome to Hashtag on VOP TV. My name is Vivian Uguche, and this is where we get to tell you all things trending and all things topical. Now, if this is your first time, accept a very warm welcome from us. That said, we begin with the very first hashtag, hashtag APC Ariwa Forum, or you could say Ariwa APC Forum. It's actually breaking news. Ariwa Forum in Kano State today, it was massive. They publicly came out to say they are withdrawing their support for President Tinubu come 2027. And they gave a number of reasons why they're doing it. And there's been massive response to this. In fact, one of the netizens who is actually from the North came out to say publicly that the North indeed has left President Tinubu. We have a post on X. Let's take a look at the very first post now. Hashtag Ariwa APC Forum. Ariwa APC Forum in Kano State withdraws support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's second term bid. Now, the forum in Kano says that it's withdrawing its support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's second term bid, citing nepotism, incompetence, and corruption as reasons for the decision. So there are lots of people jumping on this train and so many posts, really lending credence to this one. Let's take a look at the next one now. It's still the same. Ariwa APC Forum. This is ADC Vanguard, and it says, breaking. The Ariwa APC Forum in Kano State has withdrawn its support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's second term bid, citing nepotism, incompetence, and corruption as reasons for its decision. Now, there is a screenshot of that letter. That is it. Ariwa APC Forum. Announcement of withdrawal of support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's second term bid. It's dated the 17th of April, 2026. To the general public, party stakeholders, and all concerned citizens, the Ariwa APC Forum Kano State chapter hereby formally announces the withdrawal of its support for the second term bid of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This decision follows extensive consultations and careful reflection on the direction of governance at the federal level. The forum has resolved that it can no longer, in good conscience, continue to lend support to an administration widely criticized for nepotism, incompetence, and corruption. We believe that leadership must inspire confidence, uphold fairness, and demonstrate a sincere commitment to national unity, institutional integrity, and responsible governance. Where these values are persistently undermined, silence becomes complicity. Accordingly, the Ariwa APC Forum in Kano State wishes to make it clear that its confidence in the current political direction has been withdrawn, and its members are advised to act in line with this position in all future engagements. This statement is issued in the public interest and in defense of democratic accountability, good governance, and the collective aspirations of the Nigerian people. And it is signed Dr. Salah Akilu Kibiya. That is it. And Dr. Salah Kibiya is the chairman, Ariwa APC Forum, Kano State. Remember that Kano State is actually the home state of former Kano State Governor Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, who just defected from the NNPP to the ADC alongside his Kwankwasia movement. Of course, that's another talking point. But let's also take a look at the next post regarding this hashtag, hashtag APC, Ariwa APC Forum. The next post now. Our Fave Online doc says, the Ariwa APC Forum in Kano State has withdrawn its support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's second term bid, citing nepotism, incompetence, and corruption as reasons for its decision. There is more. Princess says, while they're busy writing long press releases on fancy letterheads, President Tinubu is busy doing the hard labor of fixing a country that was on life support. This sounds like we didn't get the appointments we wanted, masquerading as a national interest. That last statement, by the way, is in quote, and that is coming from Princess. Dear Lord says, nobody in their right senses would endorse this administration for a second term. EE says, all of them are looking for what they will benefit from this government. They do not have a strong why for supporting this government. So it's a huge debate online right now, I can tell you that. And of course, Sandra Babe says 2027 will be decided by Nigerians, not statements from political forums. Tinubu's track record and ongoing reforms will speak louder than temporary political reactions. Samuel Sunny Sunday says, leadership isn't judged by noise, but by results. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is making tough decisions to reposition Nigeria's economy for long-term stability. Boy Wow says, I'm more curious as to who they're backing now. So that's what Boy Wow wants to know. So who is the Northern Coalition that's just withdrawn its support for President Tinubu's second-term bid? Who are they supporting? Is the million-dollar question right now. The next hashtag is still along this trajectory. It is hashtag Nafiu Bala Gombe. You know him? He is the ADC factional national chairman. So today, he really divided the internet with this one. He came on board to say that Kwankwaso has no moral grounds to try to mediate between him and his colleagues in the ADC. Why is Nafiu Bala saying this? Because he said in 2023, Arewa asked Kwankwaso, talking about the former governor of Kano State, who also was the NNPP flag bearer in the 2023 presidential election. Nafiu Bala is saying that Kwankwaso was asked by Arewa to step down for former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who was then contesting for the presidency on the platform of the PDP, but that Kwankwaso refused. So why is Nafiu Bala telling the public this? He said Kwankwaso gave him a phone call and asked him to please work together for the benefit of the North. There's a post, and of course there's a video. Let's take a look at the post. Nafiu Bala Gombe rejects Rabiu Kwankwaso's proposal for Northern political solution and accuses him of splitting votes in 2023 election. Now, the factional ADC leader rejected a proposal from Rabiu Kwankwaso for a Northern political solution during a phone call. Gombe accused Kwankwaso of refusing to step down for Atiku Abubakar in the 2023 presidential election and instead running under the NNPP to split Northern votes, aiding Bola Tinubu's victory. So why is Gombe saying this now, shortly after former Vice President Atiku Abubakar declared his ambition to run in 2027? Is he trying to take sides? Is the million-dollar question. But there's a video though. You see Nafiu Gombe speaking in, Nafiu Bala Gombe speaking in Hausa. So we'll just listen to him for a few seconds so you understand exactly how this one is panning out before we take a look at the responses.
Kira ni yana gaya mini cewa wannan shine mafitar arewa shine mafita nace musu a'a durar da za a yi magana arewa in dai da ku za a yi magana arewa to
that Kwankwaso called him and said let them work together for the good of Arewa, and he said Nehi. Okay, that's me adding that. Nehi, by the way, is no when it comes to the Hindi. Now, there are responses to this one, with so many netizens jumping in to interpret what he just said. Let's take a look at the next post now. It is hashtag Nafiu Bala Gombe. Naira Land Forum says, you betrayed Atiku, hurt the North. Nafiu Bala Gombe hates Kwankwaso. Of course, Naira Land is lending credence to that story. Premier Radio, of course, takes the credit. Premier Radio 102.7 FM did that interview with Nafiu Bala, the interview, I beg your pardon, with Nafiu Bala Gombe. Emeka Ike Ome says, Kwankwaso called me, telling me this is the solution for the North, a way out. I said no. Any discussion concerning the North with people like you is rubbish because you are the same people who destroyed the country. Even in the last conducted election, we begged Kwankwaso to step down for a northerner, Atiku Abubakar, but he refused and went ahead with his candidature under a small party just to split our votes and pave the way for Tinubu. And that statement, of course, is credited to Nafiu Bala Gombe, the factional ADC leader. Of course, he spoke in the Hausa dialect. You just listened to it. There are more responses to this one. Let's take a look at the next one now. Hashtag Nafiu Bala Gombe. GWC or GWG says, quote, they are all after their personal interests, all of them, but pretend that they are after the interest of Arewa the North. Nafiu Gombe. There are more. Well, I understand that's more. Basically, netizens are scratching their head and they're trying to understand, okay, so what does this mean exactly for the North? Is the North with President Tinubu or is the North not with President Tinubu? Is Kwankwaso going to be Peter Obi's running mate or is he not going to be Peter Obi's running mate? If he's going to be Peter Obi's running mate, like some obedience are permutating at the moment, that's another hashtag to that effect, then why would Kwankwaso give Nafiu Bala Gombe, according to Nafiu Bala Gombe, a call to say, let's work for a northern political solution? These are all questions we are going to be trying to unravel as the days draw closer for the presidential election in 2027. We'll take a short break. When we come back, the show continues. Stay with us.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
Welcome back, everyone. It is hashtag on VOP TV. My name is Vivian Uguche, and this is where we get to tell you all things trending and all things topical, especially on X. Now, this is a news mention before we go on to the next hashtag. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar today paid former Governor of Kano State, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, who just defected from the NNPP to the ADC, a visit today in Abuja. And there are so many permutations surrounding this particular visit. Remember, not too long ago, the former vice president declared his interest to run in 2027, saying that that was going to be his last time around because he was going to turn 80 in 2027. So netizens are saying, what's this visit about? Probably to solidify his base with Kwankwaso and the Kwankwasia movement. That said, we move on to the next hashtag, which is hashtag Kwankwaso. So Kwankwaso is trending because an aide or an ally of Peter Obi was on Trust TV today and said that Kwankwaso has agreed to be Peter Obi's running mate. Now, this is not Peter Obi talking. This is not Kwankwaso talking. So take this with a pinch of salt. It is trending right now. Now, you remember something like this happened last week where we saw an aide or an ally or a loyalist to El-Rufai, former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai, who was just released from incarceration. He's still trying to meet bail conditions, though, but he was granted bail. And his loyalist came out to say that in 2027, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu would hand over to El-Rufai. Very next day, El-Rufai came out to say that, no, I did not authorize that statement. Could that be what exactly is happening? I mean, not too long ago, we saw how allies after allies will come and say former President Goodluck Jonathan is going to throw his heart into the ring and run for the 2027 elections. But former President Goodluck Jonathan never said it himself. So is that, I just wanted to give you a background, you know, stuff like this happen over and over again. So that's a background to this hashtag you're about to take a look at. There is a poster next now. Let's take a look at it. Hashtag Kwankwaso. Associate claims Kwankwaso agreed to be Obi's running mate for 2027. Ibrahim Abdul Karim, a political associate of Peter Obi, stated on Trust TV that Kwankwaso has met with Obi multiple times and committed to an Obi-Kwankwaso ticket under the African Democratic Congress ahead of the 2027 election. He highlighted plans for a summit between Obedience and Kwankwasia supporters while urging Atiku Abubakar to step aside. Supporters are excited about the potential alliance, but skeptics note Kwankwaso's past dismissal of a VP role under Obi in an old video, which we brought to you yesterday. And neither leader has confirmed the claim publicly. So that's where this particular one is sitting at the moment. But there are reactions or responses to this talking point. It is trending massively online now. Let's take a look at the next post. Hashtag Kwankwaso. Trending Explained says, Justin, Kwankwaso has agreed to be Peter Obi's running mate. A Kwankwasia Obedient summit is imminent. Peter Obi's aide, Ibrahim Abdul Karim, says. So this is all about Ibrahim Abdul Karim, an aide or an ally to former LP presidential candidate in 2023, Peter Obi, who is currently an ADC chieftain who has made no bones about his ambition to become Nigeria's president. Of course, he says his inspiration and his motivation is to fix the nation. And there are responses to this particular hashtag. Let's take a look at it. What are netizens saying? This is Chibude Ugochukwu, who says that is the only ticket that can unseat this cruel administration. Eben says, let's go. Man United Devil says, if they had done this during the 2023 elections, we wouldn't be where we are in this country today. But Chris Okoye says, as of today, April 17, 2026, there is no official confirmation that Rabiu Kwankwaso has agreed to Peter Obi's running mate. And that is actually the state of the affair at the moment. There's been no official confirmation from either Peter Obi or Kwankwaso that they are going to be sharing a ticket come 2027. But hey, we're going to keep our fingers crossed, yeah? Keep our fingers on that story. And of course, as events unfold, we'll keep you posted. That, of course, is our culture, our tradition here on hashtag. Next hashtag is hashtag Tinubu. President Tinubu is talking tough, really tough. Some people are saying this is fire for fire. You know, he gets really animated when he's talking politics, yeah? So this is what he came on board to say that's got tongues wagging online. President Tinubu said that he took over from himself. What is he talking about? Well, he said the former president, the late PMB, the late President Muhammadu Buhari, is just like him. That President Buhari, who handed over to him, was his partner. So he took over from himself and that he's going to continue along that trajectory. He's also saying that if the opposition leaders who are saying he's done totally nothing to better the nation or to better the lots of Nigerians, that they need eyeglasses to see or to see properly. Now, Instablog Niger has that post. Of course, there's a video. Credit goes to Arise TV for that video. But before the video, the post, Instablog Niger says, quote, I took over leadership from myself. Buhari is me. He was my partner. If they don't see our progress, we will give them eyeglasses. End of quote. Of course, that statement is credited to President Tinubu. Take a listen, guys.
I then have to look back because the truth is I took over from myself. The late Buhari is me. He was a partner. And if I took over from him, is that not from myself? So, if something is wrong, fine. Live with it, correct it, move on. The life voyage is not going to be easy. And so many of you that are traveling with me, I can only stand before you and say you will not regret it. That is why we ask you to renew their hope. If they don't want to see the hope and the roads that we bridge and the children we raise and the economy we are growing, we lend them Jiggy Bola. We give them eyeglasses. I can assure you, this is whatever you say I do. But one thing that you need from me is a promise.
President Tinubu saying he's going to deliver on promises. But some netizens are asking, sir, you said that if you do not give Nigerians electricity in 2027, they shouldn't vote you back. What's up with that? Others are also asking that, who are those clapping at every, opportunity or whenever he takes a pause and all? But the responses are varied, yeah? And President Tinubu also went on to say that he's not scared of anything the opposition is going to throw at him. He even said that he will not be distracted by distractions. Let's take a look at the responses now. It is hashtag Tinubu. This one too has got lots of people talking online, I can tell you that. Let's see what netizens are saying. This is Achibe's first son who says he is speaking like a patriot because election is in January. The eyeglasses you will give them will help them see more reasons to be discontented. Poverty is on the rise. Deal with the figures. Words are not enough. Don Self says, Baba, una to spoil this country. Make una rest. There are more reactions as to this one. It is hashtag Tinubu. The president firing his own salvo for salvo, as the opposition kicks up more dust. This is Efezino Richie who says, the boss is struggling to talk. Who are those guys clapping? Abitalk says, more, we are in for a long thing. These people, they clap, Seth. And Carshop says, no amount of intimidation will stop us from voting you out. There's one more, and then we'll wrap up this particular hashtag now. Hashtag Tinubu. Hassan Oji says, Bola Ahmed Tinubu saying we will give them eyeglasses is bold. But Nigerians aren't blind. They are reacting to the reality they face every day. Progress should be felt, not explained. Predator says, Baba is getting vocal again. I won't be surprised if he starts lecturing us on what good governance should be and what Nigerians should do before the year runs out. I think that's what Predator is saying. So that's how that hashtag is panning out online at the moment, and it's really, really gaining momentum, I can tell you. The next one is related because we just talked about Mr. President. Well, next hashtag is about the First Lady. It is hashtag Remi Tinubu Support Organization. That's the next hashtag. So the First Lady launched a support organization. It is a pro-Tinubu support organization. Just like you have the City Boy with Sheyi Tinubu as the grand patron, I beg your pardon, Sheyi Tinubu, of course, launched that movement as a pro-Tinubu 2027 movement. Now the First Lady has launched her own support group, and it is led by popular Nollywood actor Saheed Balogun. Of course, there are responses to this one. But first, the post, hashtag Remi Tinubu Support Organization. Let's take a look at the first post. First Lady Remi Tinubu Support Organization marches in streets of Lagos, led by Sahid Balogun and Yoruba actors. Supporters led by Nollywood actor Sahid Balogun and other Yoruba actors marched through the streets of Lagos. There's a video, guys. Take a look.
All right, say Nigeria, say Nigeria, say Nigeria. This is Remi Tinubu Support Organization.
All right, so there you go. That is the inauguration of the Remi Tinubu Support Organization. So this is how it stands at the moment. We have the Renewed Hope movement, we have the City Boy movement, and then we have the Remi Tinubu Support Organization. All of these groups, pro-Tinubu group, to ensure that he comes back in 2027. Of course, Obasogu is reacting as well as other netizens online. Let's take a look at their reaction. This is Obasogu David, who says, Tinubu's wife and First Lady Remi has floated her own support group called Remi Tinubu Support Organization. Today, they marched the streets of Lagos, led by Sahid Balogun and other Yoruba actors. These support groups are the reason our 3-year budget was underfunded. Credit goes to Obasogu David, of course, for the video you just watched. But hey, take a look at that thing he said, the last paragraph or the last statement, that these support groups are the reason our 3-year budget was underfunded. What is he talking about? The next post will tell us more. Senator Tambuwal, Tambuwal, a former governor of Sokoto State and, of course, a sitting senator during the Occupy INEC protest, spearheaded by the ADC, not too long ago, precisely on the 13th of April, said, this is what he said, verbatim, 2023 to 2025. That means 2023, 2024, 2025 budgets not implemented, funds diverted for vote buying, Tambuwal alleges. This is a huge allegation, and of course, Obasogu David is jumping on that. This is just to bring clarity to that statement he made. Now we'll continue with the responses to hashtag Remi Tinubu Support Organization. This is it. This is Dear Lord, who says, any Nigerian can support whoever they want. My own is that Tinubu should stop stifling opposition party. Why prevent free and fair elections? This is democracy, for crying out loud. One more and we'll wrap this up. Well, looks like that's all we have regarding that particular hashtag. We move on to the next one now, which is hashtag Obi meets Cubana. So you do know that it looks like the former allies severed ties. Now, Cubana chief priest, who used to be a massive supporter of Peter Obi, turned around, did a 360, and joined forces with Seyi Tinubu and became one of the major actors spearheading the City Boy movement in the Southeast, even though so many Southeasterners have thrown him under the bus for that. But today, there was a chance meeting between the billionaire businessman, talking about Cubana chief priest, and of course, the presidential hopeful, Peter Obi. And they were talking and hugging, and netizens are like, oh my gosh, what does this mean? There's a post, an X. Let's take a look at the first post, and of course, there's a video and reactions to that. Cubana chief priest hugs and praises Peter Obi in person, despite prior online criticism. Nigerian musician and influencer, Cubana chief priest, previously known for online insults against Peter Obi, publicly hugged and praised him during an in-person encounter. Social media highlighted the contrast between his earlier antagonism and this admiration. Take a look, guys. I mean, take a look. It doesn't look like there was some serious hugging or something. And if you are a body language expert, I would have loved for you to interpret the body language of both men. Did it look like Cubana chief priest was holding back a little bit, or was he leaning in? Which is it? Well, Peter Obi looks, yeah, that's it. Peter Obi looks enthusiastic. I wonder what they were saying. Someone said he wished he was a fly on the wall. On the wall, really, just to hear. Take a listen to what they're saying. But of course, netizens are responding to this hashtag. Let's take a look at their responses now. Obi meets Cubana. This is Quimby, who says, you insult him online, but jump at him offline. City boys in the mud. Obi is a political institution in Nigeria. And of course, credit goes to Quimby for the video. There are more responses to this one. Let's take a look at it. This is Omo Tinubu, who says, politics shouldn't be about bitterness. In politics, everyone is a friend and potential enemy. It's culturally appropriate for chief priest to greet Obi even during electioneering period. Yeah. And Breezy says they all know that, and that's why they are scared. So basically, it's for and against at the moment, but with so many netizens seizing the opportunity to again throw Cubana chief priest under the bus. How is he going to come out of this? Is he going to come out looking very shiny or muddy? Is the billion-dollar question to this one. On that note, we take you to one of the hashtags we said we're going to talk to you about today. But just, breeze through talking about hashtag Julius Malema. You know him, right? The feisty South African politician who is actually a member of the National Assembly as we speak. And of course, the leader of the South African left-wing party. He was sentenced to 5 years imprisonment yesterday, though it doesn't take effect immediately. But the videos are still circulating online of when the judge read out his sentencing to him, and another one of Julius Malema saying bye-bye to the judge, another one of him asking photographers or journalists after the sentences, after he was sentenced, how many pictures of him do they want? So it's going to be one after the other, right? Let's take a look at the first one where you have, why was he sentenced to 5 years imprisonment? Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you. Following his 2026 sentences to 5 years imprisonment for unlawful firearm possession and reckless endangerment, that is the reason EFF leader Julius Malema vowed not to retreat, stating, quote, "We cannot be scared of prison," while announcing plans to appeal the sentence to higher courts. He remains defiant, framing the conviction as politically motivated, with his legal team arguing that no DNA evidence linked him to the 2018 incident. What is the 2018 incident about? Well, it was during a celebration and Malema fired a gun, into the air. And he said he didn't mean to endanger anyone, that he was just in the spirit of celebrating. Well, these are his key reactions and the details to the sentence in the 5-year jail term. Malema declared that the EFF will or will not be intimidated and will never retreat, indicating a willingness to take the challenge to the Constitutional Court. The appeal process. Legal representatives for Malema immediately argued for leave to appeal, focusing on a lack of direct DNA evidence linking him to the firearm used during a 2018 rally. Now, supporter response. Outside the court in the Eastern Cape, EFF supporters reacted with protests, singing Makulewe. Left wing, or let's fight. Yeah, let's fight. That's the interpretation, showing continued solidarity with their leader. Now, let's take a look at the video of Malema being sentenced by the judge.
In respect of count 1, you are sentenced to a period of 5 years imprisonment. In respect of count 2, you are sentenced to a period of 2 years imprisonment. In respect of count 3, you are sentenced to 20,000 rand or to undergo 6 months imprisonment. In respect of count 4, you are sentenced to 20,000 rand or to undergo 6 months imprisonment. In respect of count 5, you are sentenced to pay a fine of 20,000 rand or to undergo 6 months imprisonment. In terms of section 280, subsection 2 of Act 51 of 1977, the court orders that the sentence imposed in respect of counts 2, 3, 4, and 5 run concurrent with the sentence imposed in respect of count 1. You may be seated. Thank you.
There you go. The judge sentencing Julius Malema to 5 years imprisonment. You heard her read it out, one item after the other. Now, credit goes to News Live SA for that video you just watched. The next video you're going to be watching is of Julius Malema saying, you know, bye-bye to the judge. And he laughed. And he had everybody laughing like he wasn't even taking it serious. Just take a look at what I'm talking about here.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I think that concludes our round.
Thank you.
So Newsroom Africa, Newsroom Africa. Yeah, credit goes to Newsroom Africa for that video you just watched. Julius Malema, with the judge, his supporters, everybody laughing. This is weird, I'm telling you. I'm not sure you can see this kind of thing in Nigeria. You see the pretty lady that just stood up after Julius Malema, that's his wife, who stood solidly behind her husband all through this. There's another video, the cable jumped on this one now. That's it. Julius Malema asking journalists, take a listen. He's asking, how many pictures do you want?
How many pictures do you want?
So it looks like there are no guns ablazing at the moment. It's just, hey, everybody laid back and laughing in the courtroom. So we are going to see how the appeal to this particular sentencing goes. Of course, we will keep you posted. So you know that there's been this tug of war between Pope Leo XIV and United States President Donald Trump. Add the vice president of the US to that mix because J.D. Vance is supporting his boss. This is one of the videos or stories I promised, one of the stories I promised to bring to you. Now, maybe we shouldn't even say it's a tug of war between the Pope and the US presidents because the Pope is refusing to respond to provocation. So the Pope had come out to say that warring or killing people is not the best way to deal with situation. That peace is what should lead the way. And that people who go pretending that they are born-again Christians and in the name of Christ go to war, they're really not practicing Christianity. Now, Trump did not take that line down. He called the Pope weak. And then his deputy, J.D. Vance, told the Pope to stick to theology and leave politicking alone. But let's take a look at the tweet that actually riled the US president and his vice. There's a Pope Leo XIV says, woe to those who manipulate religion and the very name of God for their own military, economic, and political gain, dragging that which is sacred into darkness and filth. Lots of responses to this particular one, with some saying it looks like the Pope is supporting Iran, and the US saying that, no, the Pope, you got this wrong. How about the people who are suffering from terrorism and all of that? So this is a massive story that's been trending for days. But why we are going to be focusing on Pope Leo today is because he is in Africa. Right now, he is in Cameroon. He went to Algeria, and after Algeria, he came to Cameroon. He's in Cameroon right now. But he's trending because this little girl wanted a hug and ran to the Pope just before he entered his car. And this is gaining traction online. Take a listen, right? Because there's a soundbite. Take a listen. She also got a gift. I mean, some netizens are saying this is a memory she will cherish for life. It's beautiful to watch, right? It's impressive. Some are saying that Pope Leo XIV acted just like Christ, who told his disciples not to chase the children away from him. Because once upon a time, they tried to do that, and he said no. So there are, it's something that you could watch over and over and over again, but I mean, it's beautiful. Let's take a look at the posts regarding this one now, hashtag Pope Leo. There are a couple of posts, and of course, this is the Vatican. Credit goes to the Vatican for the video you just watched. Vatican News says, at the end of Mass in Bamenda on Thursday, as Pope Leo XIV was about to get to his car to return to the airport, a little Cameroonian girl ran up to the Pope, and he hugged her, posed for a photo, and gave her a rosary. That's a very fancy rosary, if you ask me. Now, there are responses. Netizens are gushing over this one. Let's take a look at them. This is Oscar Cambona. Oscar Cambona says, great moment it was. Matthew 19:14. Quote, Jesus said, let the little children come to me and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as this, end of quote. Muwezi Michael says, let the children come to me. There are more responses. Let's take a look at them, a couple more, and then we'll wrap this up. Aha. This is Amira Carroll who says, suffer the little children to come unto me. And then June Boy is just really loving the whole thing. Felix Ukonge says, lovely lifetime memories for the little girl. Let me take that again. Lovely lifetime memories for the little girl. Quote, let the children come to me. And of course, that statement is credited to Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Yeah. And that is how we wrap up that particular hashtag. We move on now to another one we promised to bring to you today, because for want of time yesterday, we couldn't do it. This is one of the hashtags that's been trending for days as well. Ruth, popular Nollywood actress Ruth Kadiri, says that the Holy Spirit has been speaking to her about the parallel between the Holy Spirit and AI, that is artificial intelligence. Instablog Nigeria has that one. There's a post and then there's a video. First, let's take a look at the post. It is hashtag Ruth Kadiri. Instablog Nigeria says, the devil is trying to control the world. God told me the Holy Spirit is going to be the first AI. Actress Ruth Kadiri. Credit to Instablog Nigeria for the video. Take a listen.
That there's going to be a fake. The devil is fighting so hard to control the world in ways that we cannot even imagine. God told me that when somebody says, who's the Holy Spirit? What's the Holy Spirit? The Holy Spirit is what people will call today the first AI. A lot of Christians are starting to take their problems to AI. Solve this for me, sort this for me. And they are starting to forget that it was first invented by God for his children to meet all our emotional needs. And if we as Christians are not careful, we'll end up assuming that these apps or these entities are going to solve our problems. And even after they do, because it's just ask and receive, you still wake up years later and realize that you don't feel fulfilled, because we're starting to neglect the power that God has given us as Christians, our bestie, our friend, our helper, which is the Holy Spirit. And people think that you don't understand what the Holy Spirit is supposed to be in your space, who he is to you. I'm going to give you an example. This is when God told me this thing. 2 days ago, I woke up, I'm feeling very heavy, getting tired to read my script, getting exhausted. I'll not be able to finish it. I feel like very overwhelmed and very, and then I just said my prayer lightly. Father, Lord, help me to decluster, help me to decongest, help me to be able to sort out my needs so that I can stop feeling overwhelmed. And lo and behold, the next day, every single thing that I've worried about, every single thing that I was worried about suddenly started sorting themselves. I started getting ideas, do this, I'm tired, don't worry, push yourself, read it. I just got energy and help that I have been struggling with for the past 1 week. And then God told me that is my job. When people wake up and say, what is the Holy Spirit? Ask yourself, what is AI? That's the Holy Spirit, but for Christians. And we must learn to use it. Do not neglect the power of God. In fact, every single thing that the devil is trying to create on earth is a prototype of the Bible. It is a prototype of the Bible. God created man. They are working so hard to create a type of human to replace what God has created. And sometimes we get carried away. We're looking at how shiny AI is, because that's what fake does. It's always gold and shiny. Fake is always good and shiny. So they create things that look like it's overwhelming and it's overtaking the world and stuff like that. What is the first social media? Christian community, Christian relationship is the first community that was created by God. We neglect it, and we are all on social media trying to meet people that we do not know. The difference between this creation of planet Earth and the world and what God has given us is that in God's own you find fulfillment, you find peace, you find happiness, and you find health. I just hope that somebody out there understands me. It's just what God told me, and I've started to say it out. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day. Mwah. They brought light. Bye.
Did you catch that part where she said they brought light? Oh my gosh, this light wahala in Nigeria is definitely making headlines. But hey, let's talk about what she's saying, right? That for the Christians, instead of running to artificial intelligence for every single wahala that you encounter, talk to the Holy Spirit. So she gave an example of her own encounter. You heard it, so let me not try to, rehash everything she said. How are netizens responding? I got like 3 responses, which is like a microcosm of how people are responding online. Let's take a look at the responses now. By the way, that is Nollywood actress, very popular. Of course, she's a producer as well. Director, Ruth Kadiri. Responses now. So, Leon Enterprises says, inspiring words by Ruth Kadiri. The Holy Spirit being the first AI shows divine intelligence surpasses every human creation. So that will be artificial intelligence versus divine intelligence. Leon goes on to say, no matter how hard the devil tries, God's power will always prevail. Stay rooted in faith. Nether and Interior says, because AI is taking over the world, right? And then Daddy K says, Daddy K actually thinks Ruth is actually under the influence. But that's how this one is panning out online. On that note, we wrap it up. We wrap up Ruth Kadiri, the hashtag Ruth Kadiri, as well as the whole episode of Hashtag Today. I got to say thanks to everyone who contributed to making the show a success today, but not just today, all the way from Monday to Friday. Thanks. But the bigger thanks goes to you guys for watching. If you liked it, keep a date again with us for another edition of Hashtag. Same time, same station next week. Until then, I am Vivian Oguche. Bye for now.
Vop TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I. From social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
Hello there, my name is Damilola Ogunsi, also known as the Goldfish.
Hi, my name is Chike Bright Emmanuel. I'm an actor and a filmmaker.
Hello peeps, my name is Yomi E. Adejumo.
Hi everyone, I'm Paul Utomi.
Hi everyone, my name is Stacey Benjamin and this is Voice of the People TV.
I need you to keep it locked to VOP TV. See, are you looking for good entertainment? You want to get good movies, good music, politics, talk shows, sports and entertainment. You really want a channel that gives you everything you need without you having to run around. VOP is where you are. That's Voice of the People.
If you're not listening to this, you're not one of us. And you deserve to be killed. Scrap chat. Don't be killed, but watch it. Or I'll find you. And I want you.
and you are locked on VOP TV. Don't go nowhere. This is where the juice is. This is where all you need for entertainment, politics, movies, and whatnot.
And keep watching VOP TV. So keep it locked because I'm locked already, man, and it's money back guarantee. So you're gonna have a good time because I do.
And please keep watching VOP TV.
I want something actually. I beg you, subscribe, watch it. If not, whatever you see,
you better not touch that guy because VOP is the plot.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
Basketball, media, even road safety. The deaf community in Nigeria has proven that disability does not mean inability. But in an exclusive interview, a deaf rights advocate told us many still face barriers every day from classroom to workplaces. She recalled the painful memory of her deaf uncle, who died in a road accident. That loss, she said, fueled her campaign for inclusive road safety, and now change is happening. She says awareness is growing, but much more must be done. Her vision is sign language to become part of schools, workplaces, and public services, ensuring that no one is left behind.
Sign language is recognized as human right because, like George Gray would say, that inclusion is not a privilege of few, but human right. It means that when something becomes a human right, it's no longer a privilege to give that to that person, but more of for our work in Speaking Fingers, for instance, I've had opportunities to have met young deaf people who had never been to school. We currently have one we are trying to integrate at 10. We have one that has been integrated now into the school and educational system at 10. Yetunde, she got into school at 10. Today she has a language. She has a language that she uses to communicate. She can speak because she has a sign language to communicate. She's integrated. She currently plays for Milo. So, but back date when we met her, Yetunde will just be there looking at you. She actually has a physical disability alongside her speech and hearing impairment. So you find out that sign language, she can be included. When it is made human rights as a right and not just a privilege, she's also able to access services because the world recognizes it as a language. I speak English today. I wasn't speaking English before. So I wasn't good. My fluency in English was bad. But today I could communicate and people can hear me. Likewise, I can also hear people. So sign language has become a human right because it's not a privilege, but it is a necessity. It is work in progress. Today, we're having this conversation because sign language has been recognized as a language far back 2018. Does it mean that the deaf community existed at 2018? No. It just means that the world has awakened to it because media professionals like you are giving platforms for us to they have this conversation, this dialogue. And by so doing, we are also changing the dialogue So how aware, really, I don't have instances to say this is it, but I kid you not, we are not where we used to be, even though we are not where we want to be in terms of creating that awareness. By integrating sign language into such training, he or she can be empowered, their voice can be heard, they can be valued, they can be appreciated, and they can have a seat on the table because I have an awareness. Government have policies, and one of the conversations we had today during the commemoration proper in terms of the celebration we had, as a result, someone said the new competition is collaboration. So if you are not collaborating, if we don't see it from the perspective of multi-sectoral approach and just leaving it to government, government will always turn out. They sit in meetings, they sit in symposium, they sit in consortium and all those big names and come up with policies. Implementation is still far. So what's happening is that we are the government. It takes a village. So you are that village. I am that village. So government is us. And then for government, in terms of positioning, should please, we advocate for the implementation of policies, enforcement of those implementation, providing access for sign language to be given at all forums, for schools to be accessible, is to, like somebody said today, and we all agree, to make sign language a language that can be learned. It was actually the GM of LASODA that left to her that sign language should be a must in every curriculum, and we quite agree. So as we make awareness available to all, accessible to all, because this interview, without captioning or subtitling it or providing a sign language interpreter, a young deaf person, which is our population, will not be able to hear it in a way that he or she is passionate enough to drive that conversation in his own sphere of influence. I kid you not, today, I serve in an all-deaf church as part of my commitment to this work. I serve in an all-deaf church, choir, usher, pastor, everybody, songs, everything is done in sign language, ensuring that sign language is signed everywhere. Deaf people are free to use their language. You and I learn how to sign and communicate with them and ensure that videos, things are accessible, communication is provided in an accessible manner. Truly just leave no one behind. So that's what this year is talking about. Seeing it from the perspective of, we are not doing them a favor. We are providing access. We are providing rights. We are ensuring that, look, you deserve this thing and you have to get it at whatever form. Even though we don't also want to build an entitled mentality, doing it from the place of empathy, understanding that we are all a work in progress, part-time, part-time, part-time. World Federation for the Deaf and the UN came up and said, let's discuss sign language as a right, as a full right.
For her, inclusion is not a privilege, but a right, and she believes society must give the deaf community a seat at the table. I'm Onyeka Ogolo, reporting for
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Very big morning again on a Saturday like this. I feel very great to be on the show today. It's that interesting time that will bring you weekend kickoff sports on the radio and TV. Just take you around so we can see how we go. It's a very big one because I have football experts right here on the show with me today. Afiso Kubanjo, Ikechukwu as well, Jerry Apelowai. They'll be taking us through together. We'll drive this road and we have to know what is really going on in the world of football generally. And then we'll tell about the games that were coming up as well. This day happens to be a Saturday. And from all of us here in Lagos this morning, we feel very great to be on the show. So let me bring you the guys who we have on the show today. Good morning. Great to have you, Afis, Ikechukwu, and Jerry.
Yeah, good morning, Kizzy. Good morning to the viewers. Good morning, guys. I mean, it's a lot that went down, during the course of the week. We saw the Champions League. And I know a lot of people will not really anticipate the likes of Atletico Madrid to be in the semi-final, but it is what it is. And I know a lot of people are already saying that they might even get to the final. So let's see what that was going to bring. And of course, cheers to the weekend as well. We are seeing a potential Premier League decider happening tomorrow, right there at the Etihad Stadium. So let's see how that's going to go down.
All right, we'll see how it happens tomorrow. Yeah, Ikechukwu.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Good morning to our viewers. It's a very beautiful morning here. And a lot's happened, in the UEFA Champions League, like you said. And, so many things to actually talk about this morning. I don't know. One of the biggest highlight, talking point for me over the weekend was the fact that Arsenal actually, after losing that game against Bournemouth in the league, they went all the way to actually do what they need to do, trust to just get the win and then prepare for Manchester City game, that comes up tomorrow. And that's exactly where, we'll definitely be putting our eyes. But then it's actually a very good morning to talk football.
Yeah, we'll see that very game come tomorrow. Yes, Jerry Apelowai.
Yeah, it feels great to talk sports in this very auspicious time. The season is about to wrap up. Talking about the UEFA Champions League semi-finalist already done on Thursday. And the English Premier League this Sunday, the biggest game of Arsenal's life will be against Manchester City. It's not a game you want to put your hopes on as an Arsenal fan, as an Arsenal team.
You mean the game tomorrow?
Yeah. Playing at the Etihad Stadium is not a game you want to put your hopes on that's a guarantee for you to win a title. Of course, if they lose that game, which is primed as far as that one is concerned, but fingers crossed, maybe Arsenal will surprise us. But the only surprise Arsenal will be giving us is looking like the bridesmaid each season. Of course, you know what the bridesmaid does. I think they are not ready to get married yet. I don't know. They're still comfortable sitting in their parents' house. But it's going to be a difficult one for Mikel Arteta and the boys. And I can't wait to see the blockbuster fixture.
Okay, so don't miss out those games. Tonight we'll be seeing Manchester United as well away playing the Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. But let's get to talk about the one that just happened. We did see that one happening on Thursday. Right now we have some club side who have emerged to be playing in the MPFL come next season. We already have Ikorodu City from Lagos representing. And now the recent one, Inter Lagos, has joined the race. And also we're having Sports in Lagos. They've been there before. They call themselves the noisy people. They say the stadium is where noise should be made, not just a library. It's not a library. Library is a quiet place, so it's a football team. And then this you have on your screen, Sporting Lagos promoted to the MPFL. So Lagos State will be producing 3 club sides in the MPFL come next season, Ikorodu City, Inter Lagos, and then Sporting Lagos. And just how it was so vital for Sporting Lagos, I was seeing that very game live on Thursday, where Osun United just needed to spoil that run for Aqua United. And then Osun United, if they had lost the game to Sporting Lagos, maybe Sporting Lagos would have, just been at the other side. Then we have Aqua United, who got it right against Soludo Football Club in Awka, Anambra State. So we must say congratulations to Sporting Lagos, Inter Lagos, and Ikorodu City. So guys, how big would this be for Lagos? Revenue-wise, big. In a way, how big is this for Lagos to have 3 clubs come next season?
I think it's a big one. Yes, just like you said, for maybe the Lagos economy, it's great to have 3 clubs representing them in the MPFL. Ikorodu City, they've been doing big things for themselves, and they're even looking to finish strong in the MPFL season. So maybe they can get a continental ticket.
Right.
And now that we're having Inter Lagos and also Sporting Lagos as well. I mean, shout out to Sporting Lagos. They've been there, and now they are back. Into the big time. Getting that vital win over Osun United, therefore relegating Osun United, unfortunately, it's also good for them. But the issue now is about the stadiums. They have just one stadium that all teams are playing in. I think that's the Mobolaji Johnson Arena, and it's just about 5,000 to 10,000 capacity. And now we are going to have like derbies, the Inter Lagos against Sporting Lagos, the Inter Lagos against Ikorodu City. And I think maybe this is now high time for the Lagos State government to now start looking into completing other stadiums that are within Lagos. The Agege Stadium, home to the former MFM, FC, and also maybe the Teslim Balogun Stadium as well. So let's see if they can get those stadiums ready before the new MPFL season. But what does this mean to Lagos football? I mean, it just shows the development. A lot of people thought Sporting Lagos will be going down the drain after they got relegated. Some people said they might even get to join the NLU, but I like the fact that they were able to bring up some players, and now they are back in the big time, like I said earlier. Inter Lagos as well, this is a very good one for them. I think this is their first appearance in the MPFL. Just like Ikorodu City, the way Ikorodu City, when they came, they promoted for the first time, they lost games. I think the beginning of the season, a lot of people said they were going to go back, but they changed their coach, and now they are here and they are aiming for big things. They were even top of the table at some point during the course of this season. So let's see if Inter Lagos will also come and do the same thing. But good one generally for Lagos State football. But I hope those stadiums are completed on time.
Yeah,
so
I think the
congestion.
message is very clear.
Yeah.
Stadium-wise, we're going to see San Siro, Christopher Meza, San Siro, but stadium-wise, that's a very vital point.
Yeah, it's a very big point. This is one of the challenges you have when you run the club in a cosmopolitan city, actually.
Right.
So, Lagos is one of those. We have lots of clubs in London. They have these issues too. Distance between Arsenal and Tottenham Stadium, just opposite. Where we have the Membo, and the Teslim Balogun Stadium. So you get to see all of these things across. I mean, go to Barcelona, the city now. You have Espanyol, Barcelona, their clubs.
Yeah.
Go to Madrid. You also have this sort of incident. So it's beautiful for Lagos. Lagos is actually living up to the hype that is actually, the biggest city in Africa, right? Now we have 3 clubs, it could be 4, it could be 5. I mean, it depends on how much the rest actually put. I mean, back in the days, we used to have them like Leventis, Julius Berger, First Bank, stationery stores. Right. These guys were actually, all part of Lagos, and they were doing the business until Lagos actually fell real bad. I mean, since 2000, no Lagos State-based clubs have actually won the league apart from after Julius Berger. So we are waiting if it's going to be one of these guys that will definitely, come back to bring the glory, back to Lagos. But a very interesting point, of course, Fitz was talking about, Mobolaji Johnson Arena, 10,000 capacities. These 3 club sites will be sharing it. And, I mean, Lagos State government, they need to, because they're all privately owned, so they need to announce it to the government of Lagos and say, okay, we want this stadium. How can you really help us? These are the things we need, basic, because we barely play night football in Nigerian league, right? So definitely, most of those pitches are quite good to play, during the daytime. They just need to do little restructuring and then, ensure that there's adequate security. They can now have their own separate, stadium so they can actually play their own game. It's actually very beautiful for Nigeria, trust me. Now all eyes, on other parts of the country to now step up and say, oh, hey, this is exactly where, we need to start putting, ensuring that the environment is actually very friendly for all of us to actually encourage sports. But the big question we should be asking ourselves at this point, these guys, I mean, I'm looking at this, Sporting Lagos that is back now after, coming into the league. I mean, they were founded in 2022.
Yeah.
Why, this Inter Lagos was founded in 2023. right? These two clubs right now, they don't really don't have, as far as I know, they don't really have the financial muscle to compete at this stage of the league. But then when it comes to actually traveling across the country, and of course the security and all of that, it's going to come in handy. It's going to be a huge question for them, because recall when Kun Khalifa also came in, lots of shout about them. This is exactly what led to their struggle, and of course
They
it
might be
just
going
disappeared.
back.
So now this is the question we should be asking. I just hope they find a way to actually reach some level of agreement with the state government to really help them stay, because we really want to see Nigerian league activities consistently.
I say he's got a lot to talk about sports in Lagos, Inter-Lagos and Ikorodu City. They've been here and they've done so well, Ikorodu City, to talk about, and they put a lot of shock to people's faces, and nobody believed that this club side would just be in this phase where they are at this point in time. But Jerry, quickly tell me, which of these club side do you fancy more that will stay? I don't know if one will be relegated, or can they still stay in the top 20 in the Premier League?
Yeah, I think Sporting Lagos have learned from, have learned from the lesson of 2024, and should pick up from there. Everybody thought they're not going to make it back to the NPFL. And now they're back going into next season. I think they'll have to do a bit of shake-up, because when you gain promotion, you have to upgrade with what you did from the Nigerian National League, and which they failed to do the first time. They were trying to at least play with the big boys with quality of players from the Nigerian National League. So I'm rooting for them, and they brought a lot of fancy to the league the last time they played. Bringing down fancy back, I think, is something we look forward to talking about, we Lagosians, as the case may be. Though I'm an Ikorodu boy, through and through.
Okay, that sounds good to know.
So the fact that I'm an Ikorodu boy, my allegiance to Ikorodu is still there. Though they've been able to at least maintain a good steady ship, staying in the league back to back, that's no mean feat. Ikorodu is not even challenging for the continental places. That's really a good one for Lagos as well. Though they've been crying for having a permanent stadium with good capacity. I don't know what happened to the Agege Stadium. Nothing has been said about it. Even there was even a time the Lagos State government already showed us bulldozers and so at the Teslim Balogun Stadium that they were ready to fix it up. All of a sudden, maybe because of the election, the governors are no longer showing interest in that project. But with what I've heard, they said by 2027 that will be ready. But that means they might be going into the season still managing the Mobolaji Bank Anthony Mobolaji Stadium at Onigban, which is still not a good one, because imagine two Lagos teams are playing on the same weekend. What's going to happen? They will have to start shuffling the time. That's embarrassment for a big city like Lagos. They should be having at least 3 standard pitches where you can have big games. Talking about league games, for instance.
Yeah. Well, this is what happens when you're not when you've not done the right thing at the right time. They never saw this coming. That's the truth. Inter-Lagos, Sporting Lagos, Ikorodu City, all will be involved in MPFL. Maybe they didn't see this coming, but more like we always say all the time, put in your best, do what you need to do at the right time. Now we have to start seeing possible reconstruction of stadiums, which is not even supposed to be talked about. Lagos, just so you know, Lagos is just like the London of England. Lagos is big, and this is how it is. But quickly, let's talk about the Champions League that was played. We had some fantastic moments. Ada Guler, the free kick sent Mananuya to the Merlin style. We did see Michael Olise with that final finish. Vinicius Junior, was almost crying like a baby. Kylian Mbappe felt like apologizing. Kamavinga with the indiscipline, it continues. So a lot of games that we did see. Also Sporting CP trying to stop Arsenal, but then Arsenal got the result right at the Emirates without a goal. But they just move on with the aggregate score. We saw a lot of interesting games. Bayern Munich can't talk less about this team. Arsenal have also triumphed. And looking at the Champions League now, we have the last 4. How did Diego Simeone's side get it right? Nobody knows. And then, just so you need to know, no one talking about Barcelona Atletico. Atletico has always gotten it right, and Barcelona has never won them in the Champions League. Talking about home and away in that stage. So great to see that Diego Simeone continues to run against Barca side. He said, I did it against Messi. I did it against Lamine. So it's still me, but they'll play against Arsenal, guys. So moving to the final, or semi-final rather, last 4. The pairing looks quite easy. I'm just saying, if there's a word like that. I think the final before final with Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern Munich. Why Arsenal? I feel like the second feed of the game. Arsenal, Atletico, anybody comes out, it's open. What are we expecting come last 4?
Well, we're going to expect a lot of football. I mean, the way it even looks at it on both sides.
Right.
One side, the PSG against Bayern game, you expect pure total football.
Open football, right.
And on the other side, Yes, you know the other side of football I'm talking about when it comes to Arsenal and Atletico Madrid. But let's do a recap of the quarterfinals. I mean, brilliant games, true and true. Barcelona against Atletico Madrid. Let me start from there, where I think this is the second time this season where Atletico Madrid will be knocking Barcelona out of the cup competition. We saw that at Copa del Rey. They won 4-0 first leg, 3-0 second leg for Barcelona, and this one it was 2-0 at the Camp Nou. Goals from Alvarez and Solot, and this time around Barcelona responded immediately, getting 2 goals in the first half, two quick fire goals. But Ademola Lookman popping up, to score the all-important goal for Atletico Madrid, and now they are in the semi-finals. And this should be the third time Atletico Madrid will be knocking Barcelona out of the knockout stage in the Champions League. We saw that in 2014, where Real Madrid went on to win. 2016, they went on to the final as well. This time around, now they are knocking Barcelona out. Will they also go on to the final? That's the question. Because in the 2 times they did it, they went all the way to the finals, but they didn't win. Let's see if they are going to get to the finals again. They have an English opposition in Arsenal, who are also, let me say, quite familiar with English opposition. The last time they got to the Champions League final, which was in 2006 against FCB Football Club Barcelona, they played Villarreal at the Spanish side. Well, let's see what will pan out there. For Arsenal against Sporting CP, I think it's just same old. People were expecting Arsenal to at least control that game, attack. Just like the coach said in the pre-match press conference, he said, there's fire in his belly. But this time around, we didn't see that fire. Maybe he's keeping it for the Etihad, against Manchester City. But of course, the classic was, the Bayern against Real Madrid. That was a final worthy game, final worthy matchup. And we saw from the first minute, Adagula popping up from Ananoya's mistake and also coming up with a free kick. Then Camavinga, I don't know the rush of blood that came all over him. Maybe he didn't know it was on a yellow card and he got red carded, and Bayern Munich took advantage. Luis Diaz said it that, look, after that red card, they told his teammates that this is the time, to go and win the game, and they achieved that. So now they are playing Paris Saint-Germain, routine victory over Liverpool, 2-0 in the first leg, 2-0 in the second leg. Ousmane Dembele still reminding us why he won the Ballon d'Or and FIFA Best Award. And they came up trumps against Liverpool. Liverpool, let's see if they are going to start next season in the Champions League and without a slot. We don't know yet until next season comes around. So PSG, Bayern, Arsenal against Atletico Madrid, I think perfect matchup for me.
So what team do you see going to the final between the games quickly?
It's going to be hard to call. I know a lot of people are already looking at Bayern Munich in the final, but I think PSG would get to another Champions League final. Would they win back-to-back Champions League titles? I don't know, but I think they will get to the final. They will have just enough for Bayern Munich. They want to revenge that 2020 final that they lost to Bayern Munich, and I think this time around, without Neymar, without Mbappe, or without Messi, I think they are actually playing really well for themselves, and let's see if they can. I think PSG will do it, and maybe Arsenal gets it.
So it's more like you don't want to know how, but Paris Saint-Germain to the final.
I think Paris Saint-Germain.
You don't know anyhow.
They will play Bayern Munich. I don't think there will be a different kettle of fish from Real Madrid. So I think they will give Bayern Munich more to think about, because for Bayern Munich, with all their attacking display that we've seen, so fantastic, but that defense, there's still a problem there with Dario Upamecano and Jonathan Tah. So I think PSG will exploit that one.
Okay, so Ike, you look like when he was talking, you look like you are going contrary to what he's saying. You don't believe it happens that way.
Well, not really, contrary per se, but first, I just hope. Let me start from here. I just hope an onslaught remains next season. I really want to see.
You hope?
Yes.
He's like a father.
I really want to see, what he's definitely going to do. He started the season last season where he won the league. He lost it this season. I want to see if he's going to actually get it back. I really hope he stays. Let's see what he can actually do with that Liverpool side without Mo Salah, and hopefully he can actually stay there for as long as 10 years. Where
you are trolling. Now it's so obvious. It's so clear that
I'm not trolling. Yeah. But away from the Liverpool team, let's look at the Champions League quarterfinals. It was huge games that was played. Some of the results you actually saw it after the first leg, saying this is exactly how it's going to go. Yeah. Arsenal is going to make it through. Yes, they did. Conservative, and then we're actually expecting to see a conservative semi-final. Arsenal will be very, very conservative, and then now this is going to go to fine margins. Yeah. Who can actually get the goal, and then lock up shop. Yeah. And there was no Ademola Lookman on the first leg, so there's an extra bite for Arsenal to actually deal, worry about, in the second leg, and that's going to be some sort of problem for them. But I think so far so good. Looking at Mikel Arteta, I think he has really, really, really grown as a manager. He won the first tie of this particular round. Talking about earlier in the season, he won 4-0 against this Atletico Madrid side. Yeah. Yes, we want to say they've actually grown into a different team, but then I still think Arsenal's got the slight edge. Based on what we saw, in the double ties against the Sporting CP. A lot of persons really do underrate that Sporting CP side. They're actually a very
Fantastic
good side.
team.
Inside, they also defeated Atletico Madrid. People also forget that,
Yes.
in a hurry. And Arsenal has proven that, they are a team that can really get a goal when they need it. And then, be very disciplined defensively. So that's what this game is going to come to. And I think Arsenal's got that slight edge to actually, do it. Maybe this is another opportunity for them to also repeat 2006 final. I don't know who they're going to be playing against, but then I think it's an opportunity but for PSG. Yes, they showed just why they are the best team in Europe at the point. They took that Liverpool side. They didn't underrate them. The first leg they went there, they did their business. Second leg they came in again. They defended very well, almost all through the game. And then the little chances, the transition was quick. They showed they've got quality that can actually decide the game. Ousmane Dembele, in the absence of Doué, a lot of people were expecting Doué to actually steal the show like he did in the first leg. But then he came up in the second leg. Ousmane Dembele actually took it. It also says a lot about the variety in that PSG side. Sometimes this one will not pick up, and then this one will also pick up. Kvaratskhelia was largely silent, was doing a lot of jobs defensively in that game, and then it was quick for them. It was quick for them. Papa and then Ousmane Dembele, technical. He's really, really grown. Different player from what we saw in Barcelona. Maybe he's beginning to regain that his form that Barcelona bought him from Dortmund, and now we actually see him in the final. Hopefully, they might actually be, the team that is going to do it back to back after Real Madrid.
So you see them to the finals. Well?
Very, very possible. But the Bayern Munich side, the only problem they will have is the experience of Vincent Kompany. I think he's yet to really understand how to actually make changes in game. He's yet to really understand how to interpret game. He goes into a game, just one phase, and then he hopes that that's going to lead into it. Almost cost him against Real Madrid. If Abelua was a more experienced coach, they would have won that tie against Bayern Munich. After that, 2 goals from Real Madrid, they would have actually won that tie because they looked very disjointed. They were confused, but they just keep playing the same way and then hoping Harry Kane was a man you cannot overemphasize his quality, and that's exactly what really saved it. Kamavinga red card also was a very big boost. That's exactly when the game collapsed completely for them. And of course, Tchouameni's absence was really, really felt in the middle of the pack. So Bayern Munich, they've got a very good chance. They've got attack, arguably the best trio in Europe at this point. They can also cause damage, but I think it's going to come. Yes, it's going to come down to the ability of the managers at this point. I think Enrique will most likely outsmart Vincent Kompany. He did it. He did it at the Club World Cup. Go watch that game again. You see, Bayern Munich played very well. They were supposed to win that game, but then of course, this man's experience also shows it's most likely going to play out.
So managers class.
Absolutely. At this stage, when the pressure is high, manager steps in and then they decide game, even with the smallest margin.
Okay, well, some will want to argue, very arguable, talking about the team Bayern Munich. They've got a squad that also can just terrorize the world in the time with the players they have in the team. Some serial winners are also there. Don't forget, but we'll see how it goes. So Jerry, from this aspect, last 4.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty difficult for Paris Saint-Germain to defend the UEFA Champions League. I think the only team that has done it has to be Real Madrid under Zinedine Zidane.
Right.
And the fact that he did it as an inexperienced manager shows that there's something special about Zinedine Zidane and that Real Madrid team. Let's not forget, that team was also handled by big coaches like Jose Mourinho and co. And they could not even surpass the semi-final. I think Mourinho made it to up to almost 3 semi-finals. He kept on losing and until he was made to go, and the successive managers even attempted and they couldn't make it. And of course, we'll see what's happening to Real Madrid now against Bayern Munich. That Real Madrid side, I think Carlo Ancelotti was in that dugout. I bet on you that game at the Allianz Arena, Real Madrid would have won and would be in the semi-final right now. It's courtesy of Abeloa's inexperience. That's what could actually cost his team. Taking a look at Vincent Kompany, it's good that he's having a good time, but he's not Zinedine Zidane. I don't just see that in him in terms of pushing over the edge. Yes, he came into the season, for instance, for Bayern Munich, they're scoring lots of goals. I think they've already surpassed the record as of last week for a number of goals for a single season for the winner of the German Bundesliga, which is remarkable. But a good team doesn't stop from having a very good attack. You need to have a very good defense. Upamecano has really fallen short in terms of expectations, in terms of making sure that defense is solid at the back. And that is going to be their undoing against Paris Saint-Germain. If they're able to cross the T's and dot the I's in that defense, then I will give them a chance of going past PSG. But if they don't, PSG is already looking at the final because that attack of Kvaratskhelia, Dembele, Doué coming at you from Bakula, even coming from the bench to do a lot of damage. that Neves,
Vitinha.
Mendes, Vitinha.
Quality is too much.
And their defense, Marquinhos is looking like old.
Yeah.
Old,
Prime Thiago
yes,
Silva.
he's doing like prime
William
Thiago
Patrick,
Silva at the
yeah.
old age, and he's still look at the way they stopped the Anfield team, the Liverpool team.
Yeah.
And Liverpool really gave them a run for their money at Anfield, but somehow Marquinhos and co, even their goalkeeper. When Donnarumma left, I thought maybe they're going to have issues having top quality.
Yeah.
But I think he has stepped in and really done well for himself.
And he's even the second choice.
And even the second choice.
It was the second choice.
Things are going well for PSG right now. I think maybe the final, that might be their undoing. That is if they get to meet a team like Atletico Madrid. I'm not really rooting for Arsenal just because of Diego Simeone and Ademola Lookman. They found a spark in that attack, what they did not have for the past 2-3 seasons. An attack that is dynamic, that can break teams that are very, very good, like Barcelona. Look at what they did to Barcelona over 2 legs, making them commit and frustrated. You know, normally a Barcelona will be the team frustrating you, make you commit and get red cards. Over 2 legs for a Barcelona who was dominating, still being frustrated to the extent of getting 2 red cards in 2 games. I think Arsenal needs to be very careful. Yes, Arsenal have been dubbed as the new dark arts kings. Of course, they'll have to meet the master, the kingmaker of dark arts. That's Diego Simeone.
But they beat him 4-0 in the league phase.
Yeah.
And it was 0-0 in the
There was
first
no
half.
Ademola Lookman then.
Ademola, why are you saying?
And
I thought as if it's
You know, the thing is that everybody's
will
really
change.
looking at Ademola Lookman. Let's not forget, this is a guy that came out of the blogs and made Atlanta win the Europa League final. Because prior to that game against Bayer Leverkusen, everybody was rooting for Bayer Leverkusen to pick it because Xabi Alonso's team was doing well.
Because of the season they were having.
Yeah, the season they were having. Ademola Lookman is a player, no matter how you look at it. He's a player that changes games, that does something out of the extraordinary. Yes, he has that. Maybe it's just lucky, or the fact that he knows how to place himself at the right time and give you something dynamic. And that is what Atletico Madrid is currently enjoying. As Griezmann in his final season want to win the Champions League as well. Julian Alvarez definitely is top drawer. He knows how to give that top drawer performance. And that's what Arsenal is going to be betting against. I already said Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid, PSG final.
I think where I would
Atletico
just
Madrid,
want to,
PSG
like,
final.
I would want to fancy Arsenal just because they met at the league phase, right?
Yeah.
And this is a team that is not like the Barcelona side. That's Barcelona and Arsenal don't play the same way. Barcelona will keep attacking you. Even when they were a man short, they were still attacking.
Right.
But Arsenal knows the Atletico Madrid way. At least we all know that Arsenal can, employ the dark arts just like you said. But I think where this one will want to go, just like you mentioned earlier about Bayern Munich, is the experience of the coach. Diego Simeone knows European football well. And this time around, I think it was in 2018, where his Atletico Madrid side met Arsenal. And I think it was like in the Europa League semi-final. And they defeated Arsenal and went on to win the Europa League in 2018. So I think this time around, you will know how Arsenal can play. This is the semi-final. It's not the league phase, yes. But I'm still rooting for Arsenal just because both sides can be conservative. If the attack is not working for Arsenal, they will fall back and they will plot themselves. When they met 4-0, when they met in the league phase, it was 0-0 in the first half. People were saying it's around football pro max. So I feel Arsenal is going to employ the tactics of Barcelona. It's going to be much more closer than the Barcelona one.
Okay, I know we have to talk about that very game. We still have other time to go talk about the game. It's still coming up. But quickly, let's run to the next phase. But just so a reminder, sometimes inexperience can actually get to play. Who knows? The Matteo won the Champions League, not experience. You know the story. This company has a football style, even though he might not be able to outlast some managers, but he still has a squad. We've talked a lot about Paris Saint-Germain and how much they've got the flair, but I believe with players like Upamecano, like they really don't agree. He's on his form right now. Jonathan Tah, Laima, Stanisic, these guys can come alive. Pavlovic is quite young. Goretzka is sitting on the bench. I look at Kimmich, a serial winner with Bayern Munich and what he has done. Luis Diaz on the other side. Michael Olise said, don't give him the space. He's very dangerous. You don't know if he's coming in or he's going out. That's what he brings to the table. And Harry Kane with the machine style. You know that style a lot. So Harry Kane has what it takes
You did not mention Jackson.
Oh, just Nicolas Jackson somewhere. He might also win this one. Who knows? But just for those who say Atletico Madrid have been unlucky, let's just bring it to you. So you need to know how well they want to be here. He said, I did it against Messi. I did it against, what's it called? Against Lamine Yamal. And then he always likes to go. Anytime he does a celebration, he goes this way, he does this. And, he does the style very well. But let's bring it that one against Ronaldo. He did it. He got off the Champions League. Juventus, Ronaldo got him off. And then he said something about Lamine Yamal. So let's get you that one from the recent editorial of that very man. I'm talking about no other name but Diego Simeone and how far he's come. Let's have it show you quickly. So you see, now this is the letter. It's a small one. It said Diego Simeone and Lamine Yamal after Atletico Madrid eliminated Barca on aggregate just by Yamal's early goal. He said he's a good kid with a lot of talent. He asked for a one-on-one yesterday. He scored in the 3rd minute and the media wants to crown him the king of Europe. But in football, the only thing that matters is on. The only thing that matters is who is in the draw tomorrow morning. That's like the next day. He said the press wants me to be terrified of a teenager because he does step overs and give confidence interviews. Please, for a decade, I had to stand on the touchline and watch Cristiano Ronaldo score hat-tricks and actually knock my team out of the competition. That is a real terror. Lamine played a beautiful game tonight, he said as at that time, but the reality is we are going to the semi-final and he's going home to watch us on television. There's a big difference between playing a pretty game and being a nightmare. Well, Ronaldo is a terror. Let's have the other one. Ronaldo still record that's very one. Lamine Yamal, Ronaldo, and what have you. Now, this is it. Diego Simeone, look at this. 2012, 2016, 2017, 2019. He's not really been lucky without Ronaldo. Can this be true? He said without Ronaldo, I would have won 3 Champions League. Is that true?
No, Ronaldo was
a terror. Okay. So what about the one he has, the post to talk about Lamine? I think Fabrizio Romano posted that one out there. I think we did see that one. Diego Simeone, yes, this is it. He said it's not been easy to knock out Barcelona from the quarterfinals 3 times. The Barcelona of Lionel Messi, the Barcelona of Lamine Yamal. So with this, Afiz, you're not scared of them. You're not scared.
I think it's just high-level pettiness from Diego Simeone.
High level?
Yeah, I think it's just being petty. Just because before the quarterfinal, the first, second leg, Lamine Yamal was speaking on how he wants to go one-on-one against Diego Simeone.
He joked,
not even his son, Giuliano. So I think Diego Simeone, you remember even in 2019 when they met against Juventus, what he did, the celebration he did in Ronaldo's face, and Ronaldo had to do it back. So I think it's just being petty and him just getting that satisfaction from the fact that they knocked Barcelona out the 3rd time, in the quarterfinal.
Yeah,
and they went on to the final when they achieved, the previous 2. So maybe this will also inspire them to get to the final. They can do that, but I think Arsenal will just have enough to stop them. But it depends on Arsenal's form, because I used to say something. Does Arsenal have the Arsenal players? Do they have that mental strength, to tackle both the Premier League, and the Champions League from this game that will be coming up, on Sunday against Manchester City?
That's tomorrow.
If they get that mental strength at the Etihad, maybe they can now approach that game against Atletico.
Okay, so let's quickly run into the Champions League team of the week. Mikesh, you have to tell me, looking at this quickly, look at your screen, you have the team of the week out there for the Champions League. Who would you say should not be making that call in that very phase? The team of the week. Yeah, this.
Okay, so I think Lamine Yamal should be
here. Who has to go off?
I'll take Llorente off. I'll take Llorente off, and then I'll
give an assist.
Well, I'll just take him off.
An all-important assist for the goal.
Yeah, I'll take him off, and then just allow Olise play that deep, and then Lamine, play somewhere. I will not even be settling for a 3-man backline anyway. So maybe a 3-man midfield would just do it, and then allow Olise to drop in
a 3-man midfield.
Yes.
What about the backline?
Allow
3 backline for you?
No, 4 backline.
So who's going to drop that?
Definitely have.
You have to take someone off?
I'll definitely have Marquinhos. He actually did a very good job to ensure Liverpool, they make it to the semi-finals. And then take out, one of those, bring in Lamine Yamal, and then I think that settles it for me.
You want to play further back. Who are you going to join these guys to make them 4? Marquinhos, Upamecano, Quaresma, who else? You have to bring in a defender as well.
Yeah,
you want to drop Kimmich back to
I'm going to drop Kimmich, and then allow Zubimendi.
Drop him back to his old role. Like right
yes,
now.
Exactly. Then drop, Zubimendi, and then Olise, and Aola Adagula, and then
drop
of course
Zubimendi. Your defensive is open.
No, Zubimendi.
Zubimendi will be there.
Are you dropping him?
No.
Okay, you're dropping him.
Yes,
okay.
yes. Zubimendi, and then Adagula and Olise.
Yeah,
course,
that works.
Then allow
Lamine up front.
Yeah, I think I'm cool. No, Hurricane will be there.
Okay.
Hurricane was a real terror. So I think Hurricane will replace Ferran Torres, and that's for me. I think the goalkeeper
Musso.
Yeah, Musso was fantastic. Making saves from
made it love.
I think this list is okay.
Decent for you.
I'm even so happy that Eduardo Quaresma of Sporting CP also made it. It was fantastic against Arsenal. I mean, and this is a man. He's just 22 years old, by the way, and this is a man to actually watch out for. I hope he's going to make the Portugal squad to the World Cup. He's been fantastic. A lot of people actually think he's related to Ricardo Quaresma, but he's just a player of his own. Fantastic defender.
It's surprising to see a defender bearing Quaresma.
Bearing Quaresma. I mean, that name is just like
the name
just like Maldini.
To an attacker.
It's just like Maldini. Maldini's son playing attacking midfield when you know that name Maldini belongs to defender. So I think good list for me.
And to see players like Kimmich still being relevant this time.
Imagine,
I started hearing of Kimmich since 2011.
Right, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, just when Lam hung up the boots, I think it was in Euro 2016.
In 2026, Kimmich is still relevant.
2014, that's when Kimmich
came in. When Lam
I think he got his prime from 2018-19 season.
After the World Cup, we started hearing young Joshua Kimmich, you know.
And he's still been relevant, even Llorente too. Llorente at this time of 2026, we're still talking about Llorente. That's an evergreen player. And of course, we must give it to Diego Simeone, still making sure that players like of his age is still relevant. And
his age.
yeah. I talked about Lucas.
It's not so old like that.
And Ferran Torres, I think maybe UEFA, the person who did this is a Barcelona fan. He wanted to keep a Barcelona player.
No, but it was incredible.
He was in
got a goal.
Good form, but against the Hurricane, come on. Hurricane has been awesome. Then Upamecano, that's unfair. Upamecano has no business being there. Yeah. He was guilty as charged. For that Kylian Mbappe's goal, he had no answer for what Real Madrid was bringing to the table. Of course, you're playing Real Madrid, but you need to be top to make the team of the week. And of course, Adagula, wow, what a beautiful free kick. Masterclass performance against Bayern Munich and the Allianz Arena. That guy is coming of age. At his age, is showing up in big games like this. That's really
tough. Turkish Messi.
Yeah, definitely. Well deserved. They only said. Wow.
Okay, so guys, we need to go. We need to go, but this show. We need to go, but this show will not be complete if we don't talk about what's happening tomorrow. And I would like to go back to this clip so we could play it on a Monday and look at predictions and what we have. Tomorrow comes a very big one, a decider. That will be Arsenal going away to play at the Etihad. And that game is more like they need a win. It's a must win for Arsenal. If they get it right, Up to Computer has brought out something we could see. And if Arsenal wins tomorrow, they will go 9 points clear of City. And then you could say the title decider is done for them. But if they lose out tomorrow, then Arsenal just will go 3 points ahead of City. City have a game in hand, and some will say it's a must win. I'll start with Jerry. Tomorrow, what are we expecting? Super Sunday, Arsenal away at the Etihad. They know they must win as well, and Pep Guardiola has been playing the mindset, and it feels like they have the depth. I'm scared of Ryan Cherky.
Yeah, for Manchester City, when they have a game, they have to win by all means. It's a difficult situation to bet against them. And the fact that this game is going to be played at the Etihad Stadium, they don't have the stress of UEFA Champions League pressure, and they've already won the Carling Cup and the FA Cup. They're looking good. The form of the team is really, really top-notch. Erling Haaland is back again. O'Reilly is on fire. The likes of Silva is doing his final days. Rodri is now back in the team. Even Reinders is not even getting the starting spot. Nunes is looking good. And of course, even Trafford now, he has become like a primate. That's in Moraes all of a sudden. So, and Guardiola is looking for an opportunity. And this is the biggest opportunity for him.
He can't afford to lose it.
Yes, to win the league. So for Arteta, he will be so much under pressure. And that pressure might be the undoing of that Arsenal side. We saw them capitulate in the Carabao Cup game against Manchester City. And first half, they were looking good. Second half, everything just turned around. And that is the hallmark of a top manager. Talking about Guardiola, he has been in this position before.
Yeah, he's been there
against
before.
Jurgen Klopp, twice by 1 point. So he understands the pressure of this time of the season, which Arteta doesn't really understand. Of course, he has tried it before and he ended second. And look at it, my money is on Manchester City.
Your money is on Man City. Okay, you can tell me about this. Look at Opta Computer. You want to see that one so you can understand how far it's been. Look at this. Watch this.
But we need to first understand that this is Arsenal's biggest game in the last 20 years.
Biggest game in the last 20 years?
Yeah. The last 20 years, talking about, yes, Arsenal's biggest game was, in the last 20 years, it was Champions League final. Arsenal hasn't played a big game as big as
it's a decider.
Yeah, so this is Arsenal's biggest in the last 20 years. So it comes with a lot of pressure. Yeah. The players know that, whatever happens, and if you watch that game against Sporting CP, you understand these guys were very conservative mentally.
Yeah.
They don't want to push too hard. They don't want to get burnt out. A lot of persons are criticizing
Yeah, we
them
can say that.
they actually played a very terrible game, but they are just after getting the result. Let's make it through first, and then face the biggest game of our life.
And they know.
So you see, I think Arsenal is very well mentally ready for that game. Arsenal is going to come out all attacking, and that's the only way they can actually survive. You don't go into such game with a conservative
So
mind.
not scared of conceding.
No, you understand
Come on,
that the worst that will happen is if City beat you, win their next game, it's going to be who scores the most goals.
Right.
Not like you're topping or they're topping you by any point. So you're coming out for the kill. This is exactly what happened to Arsenal 2 seasons ago when they went to the ETR. They should have won that game there. Arsenal went there in a conservative way and they lost the league. They've learned their lessons and they know that it's still very much a lot. If they can beat City, it's going to send fear across the opponent they'll be playing in the last run-ins. So these are games that comes with high level of psychological alertness. I think Mikel Arteta over the years have actually find a way to understand how to actually position himself. Mikel Arteta before now would have actually approached the Sporting CP game with all sort of energy to attack, and then the guys get burnt out. Some of your players are still coming back from injury. They're not already sharp. You need this sort of way to manage. And I saw that game. I was quite impressed with the way they actually approached it. I understand that they're doing it, but I don't want it to be on Sunday. I'm seeing them appear the same way they appeared against Sporting CP. That's going to be not being conservative now. That's going to be Arsenal being afraid. I don't approach Pep Guardiola's side with fear. Every single team that knock Pep Guardiola's side or beats them in the decisive game, go watch those games. They come out all attacking.
Yeah.
If you attack Pep Guardiola's side at this point, because one thing about Pep Guardiola's team is this sort of decider is when he's most vulnerable.
Right.
Right.
Unfortunately,
if it comes
Arteta
at
will
you,
not attack. The Arteta we've seen this season.
This Arteta will attack.
He will want to sit back.
I think he will.
Because right now, if you look at Arsenal are not scoring goals, which is, if you take a look at the past 3 games, goals have run dry. And that attack is not really biting.
Kizzy, I told you
the
before.
attack is not biting anymore.
I told you in the beginning of
It's really
season.
difficult.
I told you in the beginning of season. Arsenal is going to win the league at the Etihad. If you recall, I was saying
I keep saying it all the time.
Arsenal will win the league at the Etihad, and we are very much close to the Etihad here. Arsenal is going to pick up that game. Arsenal is going to say, okay, let me put it this way. The worst result Arsenal will get at the Etihad is a draw.
That is what Arsenal will be coming to play for.
They will not come to play for.
Arsenal is coming to
Arsenal is not coming to play for.
Arsenal is going to the Etihad Stadium.
If it's going to end as a draw, City will be the one chasing draw.
Exactly.
So what team is under pressure between both sides?
Well, for me, I think what I'll just say to you.
I think it's the both of them. I think it's the both of them. But if you say which manager is the most under pressure, I think it's Arteta because this is quite different. But for the players, I think it's very much the same. For the club side, the atmosphere is still the
I
same.
think they should not look into the past. They should just be mentally aware of the present.
But the first leg, Arsenal had a decent game, even though they drew.
Yeah, it was.
They controlled the game. Pep packed the balls.
But this is a team that is chasing you, and a team that you also have been chasing in the past.
Right.
So you finish second back to back. If they go into that game thinking of the past, they will lose. But right now, they have to be aware that, look, as bad as it is, we are still at the top of the table. And just like you said, it might come down to goals.
Talking about second
Pep is already winning the psychological warfare.
Yeah, true.
Because one, he
has
beats them the Carabao Cup final.
Yeah.
You get that's already
talking about the back-to-back.
We need to go.
Arsenal just lost their last game in the Premier League.
It's a lot, guys.
So psychologically,
I know you get okay.
Talking about back-to-back, right?
What do you say?
Talking about the back-to-back that Arsenal lost. Arsene Wenger lost the league 98, 99, 99, 2000, 2001.
Yeah,
he won it 3 straight years. Ateta has done it 3 straight years. So this is the league for them.
All right, guys, thank you so much. We need to call it a close. Ikechuku, Jerry, Afiz, a great moment with you guys. The sphere, I'll say we must go. We need to go. The time is up. But yes, we know it's a visible game that will be coming up on Sunday. And the game, if you go by what we have mentality-wise, it's supposed to be favoring Mikel Arteta. I mean, our Pep Guardiola side, looking at how far they've come. And this is just what they also want. But just try away. I don't know, the message for me to Arteta is about Nico O'Reilly. I don't know. He finds himself in the right position. He's a defender. I could play transition in midfield. And they need to be very careful. 22 years, run, Premier League chase still continues. It boils down to Sunday. It happens to be there. That's tomorrow evening. I could say tomorrow. We'll see that very game. It's a decider. Who gets it right? Will it be Pep Guardiola or Mikel Arteta? Time tells. But this is where we'll have to call it a close on the weekend kickoff. We'll do this again when we return on your TV screen. That will be on a Saturday morning, just as we are here. Meanwhile, like I say, good morning. Great to have you as well watching us, and be safe as well.
ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing Vop TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. Vop TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as